The following is a presentation of the ForceCenter podcast feed.
We're here. We're live. Hey, everybody. This is a big ForceCenter Q&A live edition. So many buttons to press. I'm Ken Napzok.
I'm Joseph Scrimshaw, and I can see myself. If you've been watching these monthly Q&As the last couple of weeks, my apartment's been kind of a mess the last couple of months, so I've tried to do my background of the Jedi Archives, where I am Jocasta News assistant, and then I was not able to see myself. But now I can finally, I feel like I've reconnected to me, Ken.
You've reconnected you, and I have fallen. I had a chair issue right before we went live.
Are you? I thought you were just kind of sinking down, getting comfy, but you are literally doing some office humor.
Yeah, I'm doing some funny office hijinks. Oh, we'll fix that. We'll fix that. I've been broadcasting all day, but happy to be with all of you here. And Joseph, so what did you say you were drinking? Did you say yet?
No,
Sorry,
I didn't.
And I was distracted.
This is this is a little cocktail I invented called the Falling Chair. No, it is a whiskey and ginger beer.
See, I ginger beer, I have an odd relationship with it. I don't like it.
I think that's a pretty clear relationship.
Yeah, but people often a good Jameson and ginger is a different experience, and I like that there. I am doing White Walker season 7 of Game of Thrones, I think it was. That's how long I'm sitting around.
Jameson of Thrones is the other. That's Jameson's whiskey.
And I mix it with the fizzy apple Zevia Kids. Take your kids' drinks and make them your own. And I don't have
that a Disney branded duck, or is that a copyright infringement duck?
Oh no, I just noticed that. It's keeping with our show. It is that Daphne duck?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Well,
it's got the Disney logo on it.
Well, yes. I was gonna make a shill joke, but it's not necessary.
Hey, I shill all the way down to my alcohol. Oh man, I promise I'm not going to be distracted about. I had all the time in the world to get this camera set up, and I didn't. Anyways, we're here to Daisy. Is Daisy Duck? Who's Daphne Duck? Did I just make up someone?
I think that's in the Frasier reboot, the all duck version of Frasier. There's Daphne Duck.
Daphne. That's it. Daphne Daisy. Everyone checking in here, like Dave Taylor. We've got Mike Fink saying Mednug for Ken. I've started to already see, Joseph, some people putting out their own versions of Mednug on Twitter.
Oh, like that they made, or interpretations of it?
Interpretations.
Okay.
Yeah. Some of them just seemed alcoholic, which actually all of them were, but some of them just seemed like, I'm going to call it Mednug, but not necessarily. I think you got to have some kind of NyQuil in there.
Yeah, we got a great tweet response to our postulating on what exactly Mednog might be on the podcast. Got a great response that it's like maybe the kind of the NyQuil they took off the shelves a couple of years back, kind of thing. But I really can't wait to attend a convention and have everybody have flasks of Mednog.
Mednog. Brian Ward is in chat. Our logo man. Wouldn't you rather give it all podcasting about something real? Love that. Luthen Rael stealing everyone's hearts there. We're going to be answering questions today. Your live questions. We're hanging out. We're drinking. We're having fun. You can choose to drink or not drink or just hang out and get some questions in there. There you go. So, yeah, I don't even know where to start, Joseph. Are you still basking in the glow of Luthen's voice?
I think I'm going to be basking in the glow of Luthen's voice for a long time. You know, even at the length of podcast that we did for episode 4, we did about an hour and 45-ish minutes. One of the Luthen lines that we didn't talk about is the sudden Luthen yell. And look at me. Look at me. You want to catch the lead? Yeah, that was a nice shock because he's been this sort of like low level intense. He's been that like I am about to yell for his almost entire screen experience. And it was great to see what broke him suddenly in that moment.
Do you 31 flavors of Basket and Luthen and Futhen. There you go, Mike Fake. Did you I saw this detail today online, and I don't go on that Star Wars Discord world too much, but someone just loving the little detail of Luthen using a cane until he got into town, and then he collapsed it, and just how he's so good at, what is the real version of him? Does he need the cane? Is the cane just a walking stick through the mountains? What was it? And just how he's aware of all those little details, not just as an actor, but as a character. I love that about him.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think that was a great detail. I mean, I think that obviously he had the cane. He didn't use it specifically for traveling booster sales guy. It was Space Willie Loman.
Yeah.
But it's perfect, right? If Space Willie Loman was suspicious and wanted to describe him, he'd probably say, well, he's really grumpy and had a cane, right?
Yes.
And then people would be on the street. Then you'd have the corpos looking for a grumpy guy with a cane. And then they see Luthen and go, that's just a grumpy guy. There's no cane.
No cane.
Can't be him.
That's a great point. First of all, it makes me think that you have done some sneaking around. That you picked up on the detail of but also it keeps in line with Luthen's kind of build your exit, like build the way people are going to see you, build the way they're going to report you. It's not like Men in Black. No one's going to remember you. You don't exist. It's like you do exist, and you have to be aware of that.
Yeah, no, absolutely. It really did. Obviously, it's super clear to anybody watching the show how great Luthen's transformation is, and that is a very actorly performance thing. For myself, having done a lot of acting and a lot of sketch comedy in particular, it really reminded me of exercises that a friend ran me through kind of early on in acting. That's just all about like a station, right? Do you hold yourself like you want to be seen? Do you hold yourself like you think you're important? Do you hold yourself like you're trying to be important, but you're in great back pain? Like all of these different things like that you so control. Honestly, like some of the neighborhoods I've lived in have been not always super safe. And I learned to look really, really just like a totally non-existent, right? To just sort of swallow your energy, right? And just like all that kind of stuff seems to be going on with Luthen.
I love it. Or sometimes you just put your keys in your hands and walk in the center of the street and beg for trouble. We got a lot of questions. Got a lot of questions coming in here, and super chats are open. We always appreciate them. It helps keep the show going. And we got a first one. I got some other questions that are non-super chats. We will look at those as well. We're not a super chat only channel here, but it definitely gets our attention when I see Star Wars explain himself. Alex Damon. Molly's also in chat as well with a great question. Alex Damon, who's just on, I just spoke to Alex for an hour and 40 minutes about Lord of the Rings, Rings of Power. That episode is out now on Casterly Talk. Alex says this: what's an item you'd love to see in Luthen's in a future episode? By the way, I don't know if there's a canon name for that store, Joseph, but I'd like to just call it Luthen's.
There is. It's in the StarWars.com databank entry on Luthen that I was looking at today. It's funny too. It's like unnecessarily detailed, whatever the name of it is.
The other way.
This is a great question because we did get that great just festival of interesting things that also told the story of. They're almost all items from conquered and tortured peoples. Ken, what do you want to see in Luthen's store?
Because you're right. There's. We talked about the importance of the references. A lot of the maybe it's not every little thing he has in there, but a lot of them have references to uprisings or rebellions or people who fought for themselves, cultures that were oppressed. There's a lot of great purpose in the art. I also want to celebrate on maybe the good things. I'd love to see the Boss Nass peace orb.
Oh yeah, I mean, I sense they have the Gungan shield, right?
Yeah, right. The Gungan shield is there. So just give me that piece. Give me that peace orb.
Yeah. Oh, the peace orb would be great. I was gonna say something a little bit more violent, a little bit more upsetting. We as fans sometimes obsess over like what has happened to different fallen weapons, like whose lightsaber ended up where. What if somebody walked into Luthen's just beautiful, lovely, calm shop, and he had Count Dooku's head on display?
Just the actual head recovered from the scene of the crime.
Now, this is very rare. There's only one of these now, you know. This is the actual head of the separatist leader. I know your husband is very interested in enemy heads. There's a great deal on this one.
This is for the severed head aficionado.
Aficionado. Yeah.
That's great. Yeah, that'd be good. Yeah, the big as well. Alex, you got to, maybe you've already done a video on what you want to see. Brian Ward, it goes in a similar spot with Mace Windu's hand. Oh, there, Alex has got the name Galactic Antiquities and Objects of Interest.
I swear, like I'm so curious to see if it was set up, beforehand, but the whole thing seems to be like so mocking of itself. That name is great. It's fun. Yeah.
Yeah,
I agree with that, Markian Rowe. I think some Nile stuff would be amazing.
Oh yeah, Ronan show. He's saying that Markian Rowe's helmet would be good. Yeah, some Nile stuff. Plus, I'm going to try to stop making the jokes about what I think Tony Gilroy says on set or in a production meeting. But I would love if someone goes, "Can we put High Republic stuff in there?" And he goes, "What the hell is that?" Whatever. Okay. But I think a lot of the items were probably pitched to him and his team and the production design team that did so well. And again, if you're a creator, and this is the old Star Trek, you write a Star Trek script, you write technical stuff here, and then you can work on it a bit later. I love the idea that Gilroy's like, he needs to collect art that represents uprisings, rebellions, oppressions in the galaxy. And then there's a whole list of things to get to.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think there's just great clarity. There was always this confusion about, what does a story group do? And I really love that Pablo Hidalgo is being directly credited as lore advisor. And so one would assume that especially some of these real deep cuts are him filling in what makes sense and what's fun.
What makes sense indeed. Let's see. We got a super chat here, but Joseph, there were some great questions up top. Did you remember? I got some up here if you didn't have one. I want to go to some of the early ones that came in here.
Yeah, go for it.
Now I just got to find it. It's that old scroll. We're doing the scroll.
I got one if you need help.
Hit me.
Aiden Folds, this is at 4:05 p.m. What's your favorite clone trooper?
That was actually the one I was looking for. We think alike.
Excellent. Do you have an answer, Ken?
I wish I had a more detailed one, meaning there's so many wonderful clones. And along the way, we've just been doing the Clone Wars report, and I've had that thought of I should write down that clone's name because I like him, and then I don't remember. So then I end up going with the Codys and the Rexes, which are all great answers. I think Gregor has really climbed my list. Spending more time with the D Squad. I love that.
Yeah. Well, I'll say a character's name, but I'll also share this because it's nice and nearby. This one. This is one of my favorite. Bob Clone? This is Bob Clone. Hi, Bob. So if you don't know, this is I think it was 2012. It was a limited series that this is one of the packaging types that they considered for the original Kenner line. So they made this special selection, and he's so beautiful. I really like the first phase armor with the fin and all that. So that's great. But for clone, in some ways, I do think it's Echo because I love his journey.
Yeah,
I love starting out. I love how some of the names that the clones have early on when they're just kind of grasping at them. Some are really like I'm defining myself, and some of them are like slightly cruel nicknames that people got stuck with. And I like that Echo got stuck with the I'm always repeating regulations, so I got named Echo, right?
Yeah.
And he starts from this real sincere, almost nerdy, I want to do everything right, and then encounters all these horrors and is, still fighting. And I'm looking forward to more Echo content in Bad Batch season 2.
Yeah, and I just love this. I love the stuff with fives. A lot of people saying Omega, which counts as well. And then Alex Damon supports my Bob, saying it's Bob, so it's canon. I think as long as he's getting there.
So Alex and Molly and I bonded over having watched the show For All Mankind on Apple Plus, which I highly suggest. And Hi Bob is this is a For All Mankind Center. We're slipping in a Hi Bob reference, which is a beautiful part of For All Mankind.
That's awesome. Speaking of Molly Damon, she had a question early. Hey, Molly. She says, who do we think the person Mon Mothma has in mind? Also, hi, Bob. Hi, Bob. That I think I saw my answer in the chat, but someone had the answer too. Who do you think, Justin?
Ooh, this was really great. My wife and I watched it late last night. It was the first time she saw it, and that was like her main question, like, who is it? And we're both, and I was like, I don't think it's her husband, but like, I thought that would be an interesting, like, is there some part of her? It seems like she probably knows who he is, but is there some part of her that hoped like maybe she could bring him into the circle? But then my wife and I were both like, no, that
Not
garbage
fair.
husband's too far gone.
Not
I think Draven is a possibility. Because I think he makes narrative sense in terms of what of building to Rogue One, right?
Right.
And it'd be interesting to meet Draven, and is he already a little bit like, yeah, we're not going to do it the nice way.
Right.
We're going to do it the rough and tumble hard way, or does he start out a little bit more optimistic before he gets to be just, Mr. Break the alliance and whisper to Cassian to just kill Galen?
Kill Galen. That's a great answer there. I love Draven in a weird way. Like he represents a certain aspect of the rebellion, but I think he had some spice to it. Brian Ward had what I've kind of been thinking, which is Saw. Now we know Saw is going to show up in the series, so it's not that part that I go to. It's the idea of like, at what point was there a true split? I think by now there's already been that, but is she having that kind of like, I know my friends don't like him, but I like him, and I'm trying to work with him, or I'm rooting. There's just some part of her is like, maybe we need parts of him. Maybe I can temper him. Maybe Luthen's the one to do that. Maybe he can reach out. I think that's an interesting answer outside of a political answer, because there could be a senator.
Yeah. I mean, I think that would be really interesting. I think there's something for me that Luthen and Saw are already connected in my mind, and I felt like it.
Yes,
I think partially just Cassian using the term partisan front, and
right,
and they just kind of throwing around a Saw Gerrera that he seems like he's a known quantity and that he's been making trouble for a long time.
Yeah.
But that would be really interesting if Mon was like, I think we can bring in this very discreet man named Saw Gerrera, and Luthen would be like, discreet. Saw Gerrera's not discreet.
Step 1, not discreet. 2,
step 2, yells a lot.
You and I were talking yesterday. We were hanging out a bit, and we just sharing our joy of Luthen and his choices with our pal Mark Ellis. Of like, because Mark hasn't seen the show yet. We're like, we won't tell you anything, but man, Luthen just always has choices. He's always presenting choices.
That's like I think my favorite thing right now is just that breaking it down. It's the kind of thing that, if you're in the right headspace, it is a great way to make a decision, right? Like you're sitting there being neurotic about something, or you're just like, step 1. You could sit here and be upset. Step 2, you could send that email.
Here's what you got to do. Yeah.
I just want to give a quick shout out to one of our earlier questions before we move on. Cien Amon Il says that Geode would also be fun, but a teeny bit unethical to appear in Luthen's shop.
Yeah.
Very funny.
After Geode passes away, what happens? Like, what happens to that species' bodies? Then did they go on display? Is that maybe part of the ceremonial funerals?
Add them to the Force Spirit lineup.
Yeah.
At the end of Andor, then just a rock appears before Luke. And he's like,
Brian Ward suggests Bistan shows up there.
Ooh, I love that.
Dave McKay says the 3 alien ETs from the Senate. That'd be great. Someone's gonna do that, right?
Yeah.
Comic book, maybe someone's gonna be like, "Oh, we're bringing in that one of the ET characters into canon." Like they're there, but like actually putting a name, not ET himself, but like,
yeah. Oh man, no, I would love those 3.
Yeah, that's good. All right, scrolling along. If you guys got questions, keep sending them in. We're just hanging on out here. I got an interesting one, unless you got one there.
Yeah, no, go for it.
This is what is Jedi Islander? I love that use, connecting the eyes there. I really love this question here. Tony Gilroy is 66. Could it be he's still of a generation that needs to express nerd shame, and he loves it all deep down? I have a hard time believing people can create totally dispassionately. There's something about that. Favreau is younger, but we always go to that Favreau thing. Look, he's a nerd, he admits it, but like, there is a generation that nerd shame is real for a lot of generations. And you and I kind of emerged from that and emerged into the generation where the nerds took over a little bit later. But we grew up with kind of being told you should have some nerd shame. It's definitely a thing. I think there could be something that, and at the end of this run, Joseph, Tony Gilroy goes, guess what? I'm a Star Wars nerd. And we all have a great time.
Yeah. No, I mean, I think he in one regard is a Star Wars nerd now, right? I mean, I think for him to come to the project of Rogue One to begin with, and then for him to be excited to come back and play in this world, I feel like he's maybe one of these people, and he said this stuff in interviews, right? Like,
Yeah.
it didn't connect with him when he was a kid. He's not the kind of person to collect action figures. He's not wearing Grogu sweatpants, right? He's not going to do that side of it. But if he looks at it from a like, what is this story about? What's really at stake? If I ignore all the cultural noise and the Halloween costumes and the weird lining up, on Hollywood Boulevard to be interviewed by a dog. Well, okay. If I ignore all that, what are the ideas? Oh, I like the ideas. And for me, that's all great. I worry sometimes about the not worry about. I just disagree with the, actually underneath all those explosions and laser swords, there's something really great there. That always that rankles me because I like both.
Yeah. That's if you and I always have. I think anyone as a Star Wars fan now has an interesting relationship with Star Wars discourse or discussion, and it can. Some days you can take it, and some days there's little things that get in your craw. And one of those is just like not liking one thing is fine, but I had someone just describe to me that the Kenobi series is it's just like fluff, like a piece of candy. And again, I do not need you to love the show, but I'm like That's like we both got served a pizza with mushroom and olives, and you're like, why'd they put jalapenos on it? I'm like, there's no jalapenos there. What are you talking about? And you're like, yeah, right there. There's jalapeno. No, there's not. And my head just goes.
I am going to describe, Obi-Wan Kenobi is emotionally intense candy, very emotionally intense candy. But yeah, no, I think that's a great. I've heard people. I mean, shame. I don't know if shame is the right term. I have friends who are a few years older than me who have just said like, I don't get it. I was never raised to obsess over a story. It's either a good story and I appreciate it for its merits as a story, and then I go live my life and I play golf and whatever I do. I fix a car. Those are the things to be passionate about. I think there's just like a little bit of like, it's changed the way we react and interact with media,
Yeah.
And I think he's definitely of the age of like, I didn't interact with media like that.
Well, if he's 66, what does that put him like around early 20s when New Hope comes out? Your relationship to it is way different at that point. It might just be a silly space movie.
Yeah, or maybe he always appreciated the big ideas.
Yeah. Good stuff. Interesting stuff. And love this comment here. Just a comment here from Johnny C. Books and Comics. Discovered Forcenter a couple months ago. Back through some of Alex and Molly's streams that you guys are on. I've been binging to the main Forcenter podcast from the beginning. We really appreciate that. And he added some stuff there. I'm trying to learn to accept both criticism, but also praise. I reject praise more than criticism in my life. Johnny C., we really appreciate you hanging out here. And absolutely. We really appreciate Alex and Molly and have for such a long time and been blessed to get to know them as friends and be around them and call them friends, put garlic cheese toast in front of them. It's we're forever thankful and continue to have a hopefully a fruitful partnership, both professionally and personally with them as well.
Yeah. Thank you very much, Johnny C. Books and Comics. That is a great name.
Yeah. All right. What jumps up out to you now? I'm going to take a sip of my drink.
I think that is appropriate because I think we'd have a cocktail question here from David Hiltbrand at 4:10 p.m.
Yes, that was the other super chat one. Good call, Joseph and Molly.
In case you didn't see this question before, what cocktails from our galaxy do you think Luthen would like best at a bar, at home, or on the go?
This is spectacular.
Ooh, yeah, absolutely. Okay.
This is great.
Yeah. I have a thought.
Right. Okay, go run with your thought.
Yeah, I think just on the ship, just in between things, I think he has, like Molly said, some mid-level bourbon, right? Just something that it just serves the purpose, right? It's something to calm your nerves, a little liquid courage, right? Just straight, right? No ice or anything. And then I think if he's like sitting down and like I'm planning a mission with Saw Gerrera and they're drinking something special. I think it is hardcore absinthe with all the original ingredients that might actually affect you quite negatively. And I think he's like, look, number one, you cannot drink. Number two, if you're going to drink, it's to affect yourself. Number three, don't lie that you're trying to have an effect. Go for it. But then when he's at this store, the collection of antique curiosities, I'll look that title up again. It's amazing. I think that he is drinking a cocktail that I like, but is a little bit different energy. And I think instead of a French 75, he's drinking a Coruscant 75. This is like a bubbly champagne cocktail, right? That really goes with his little art dealer Luthen chuckle. Like, I so enjoy a little champagne. It tickles the nose in my Coruscant 75.
For the aficionado. Yeah, I love that. Brian Wars with Blueberry Daiquiri. All the Diaz is here from Octo Radio. Hardcore Absence is the first thing I heard. Instant 10 out of that episode. Yeah. Yeah, Mednog is Bacted whiskey. Yeah, I think along similar lines. I don't know if I have specific answers, but I think there's definitely, I'm trying to think what is the real Luthen. And someone in the chat earlier asked, is Luthen even his real name? You know, you can't you can't help but wonder that. I do think he is kind of like a Coors Light guy when he's home in his apartment, in his ship, when he's Luthen, just two. I like this. But I think the fact that he has to live all these lives, and you're right, when he goes to Luthen's Emporium of Antiquities or whatever it is.
Yeah, Galactic Antiquities and Objects of Interest.
Objects of Interest. He's going to have to put on the Ritz. And I think because of that, he has a distaste for some of those highfalutin drinks in his downtime.
Yeah, yeah. I think if somebody hands him a Coors Light, look, he's not going to say no. He's gonna slam it.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I think he is for sure champagne drinking the shop, says Molly. But I think I've mentioned this before, if not on ForceCenter, perhaps on this stream itself. You know, and It's a Wonderful Life when he's in the bad universe, because It's a Wonderful Life is a multiverse story. And he goes to the bar and it's not friendly, it's sad. And the says this is a serious place where we sell hard drinks for men who want to get drunk fast. I think Luthen's like, why dance around it if you want to get drunk? I don't have time for 8 Coors Light.
Yeah,
let's get this done.
Get this done. Just go right straight to the source. 1, you get drunk early. 2, you go home early. That's what you do. Star Wars Explained, Alex Davis says Mednog is Malibu rum and Pedialyte.
Ooh.
Oh, I like a good adult Pedialyte. They serve those now at 7-Eleven or something like that. Replenish yourself there. I can't imagine mixing alcohol with it. The taste, but I'm going to try it.
Do you want to drink something real?
I love this. Is now Luthen's real name is Manny Bothans there. Thank you, Brian Ward. Johnny C has turned the conversation towards Perrin. He definitely orders grasshoppers. Yeah, I think.
Oh yeah.
There's I'm so thankful this weekend. And please keep your questions coming in here. And what did you see? I think we might have. Did you see the one from Mason Harris? Is that what you're
I was laughing at a couple, but Molly Damon saying Sly Moore drinks room temp milk.
And then the Mason Harris is the real question: was Sly Moore's go-to drink?
Yeah, there you go.
See, this is fun. The question about Perrin, what does he drink? Sly Moore, this dinner party that I just have to remind myself we're probably not going to see. I just have to really keep that up, but I don't know. We might. Who knows? We might.
Yeah. Oh, I so want to see the dinner party with Sly Moore just cracking jokes. I think she has fermented the dust of dead Geonosians. I think she's drinking that. I think it's something evil. She's evil.
Yeah. Here's my pitch. Here's my pitch to convince myself that we're going to see the dinner scene. I try to forget trailer footage. So if anyone doesn't want in on this conversation for this part, I understand. But that conversation we saw in the trailer with Mon Mothma and that other guy that I forget his name, that they're whispering, what are you really doing? That whole stuff. That seems to be in her apartment, and that seems to be away from people, but there's people there. So my dream of seeing Sly Moore drinking bone broth milk, Geonosian bone broth milk at a dinner party. I'm going to hold on to that hope.
That is worth having hope. We just have to hope until the light comes out, and that light is Sly Moore at a dinner party. I don't know if people have done the deep dive on the other name of Ars Dangor, which is just like, it's so funny because it's it's not confirmed. It's on Wikipedia as a behind the scenes thing that there was speculation that Ars Dangor, who's mentioned places and that is one of the imperial dignitaries. I don't know if you can see my phone, but if people want to,
yeah, we can.
This guy, look at that guy.
Kind of see that guy.
The guy with the Smurf looking hat.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, the Smurf hat. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the imperial dignitary with the Smurf looking hat.
Yeah.
If that crazy SOB showed up, I'd be so happy.
I love it. Alex, we were going to see Sly Moore at a dinner party. If we don't, Star Wars is dead again. I love that. For those who just joined us, we're hanging out live here for a bit. If you got a question, post in chat. Super chats are open. We appreciate that. And I'm going to ban every adult dating site that tries to spam our account here. Don't you worry. Don't you worry. Though adult dating site spamming our account definitely feels very Andor-like. It's an adult stream.
Yeah, make sure it's not actually the brothel from the first episode, because maybe they want to do a partnership.
I feel called out by this question, Joseph. I'll jump ahead here, and then you can get one behind that there. And Joshua Bedard has a very fun question here. Hey, Ken, I know you've said many times that you hate meetings, but wouldn't you like to attend one with the ISB led by major party guests? Yes, from this sense. He runs his meetings with a deadly efficiency. And one of the things I hate about meetings is, anyone have any questions? And there's always one jackhole that raises their hand and keeps us there longer. And I think he shuts that down. Partagaz is there for himself. He's there for the Empire, and get out. So from that alone, and then plus to be in a room with Anton Lesser, that'd be cool. But in story, yeah, I'm okay with someone like him just getting through it.
Yeah, I do love the bookends of that last meeting where he walks in saying, I think he says begin or start, I can't remember which, and then says, we're done.
We're done. We're done.
I have a theory about why you dislike meetings, Ken.
I love to hear your theory. You absolutely changed my life with your understanding of me and cloaking devices on ships. So please, I'm all here.
I think that the point of meetings is good communication, right? That we are a team. We're all trying to do something. The leader of the meeting is facilitating it and laying out the big picture, and then everybody else is asking the questions they need to understand how they're going to contribute to the big picture. Yeah. Good communication, inspiration. But a lot of us, I think, find ourselves in not good meetings where there isn't an opportunity to ask good questions and get good information back. And a lot of times it's just you don't need that information, or it could have been an email, and it's wasting the time that you would use to do the actual tasks, right?
This is all tracking. This is all working. Yep.
So I think that you have just been in lots of bad meetings with bad communication.
Yes. And often I'm the ones leading them. Yes. Yes.
Yeah. I actually don't think that his goal is actually to have it's the imperial cruelty and selfishness, right? It's for him to manipulate. It's for him to actually get the updates, right? He gets the information and he writes it down. But that wasn't his great healthcare speech was, like, I think thematically clear, but I don't think his employees left that meeting with a clear idea of what their tasks are.
Yes. Yeah.
It was bad communication.
Yeah. No, look, I always say meetings are the time between the emails that get things actually solved. And I think you're right. Now, here's the thing. I've been in meetings with you on calls with other folks, and you are great about, here's a question I have that, please, I need the, like, it's clear. And those move the meetings along. It gets to the point. So yes, not to take it so far out of Star Wars, but that's part of my thing. It's just, I just think people are there just to be like, here's what I think. And I just think like I know I've said this like back in the day. Like if you ever go to the Grove and Farmers Market in Hollywood, I wrote the emergency response plan for a lot of the property there. The emergency response plan I took from like 250 pages and I put it down to like 30. So I was like, none of this matters. An earthquake hits, you need to know. You're like Luthen Rael. 2 things: safety, help others. That's all we need. This meeting's over. I don't need 30 people from 30 departments. This is how we're going to put it together, because all that goes out the window once the earthquake hits. So I think
get people out. Don't stop at the Tashin store. Go.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, I'm going to keep banning this dating site, but it's the work these bots go to go.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it really is great. Yeah. Anyway, I'll every time we have to have a ForceCenter meeting, I will try to make it a better experience.
Yeah, no, I mean that makes a lot of sense for you to put it in that way, because a lot of times the people we're in meetings with are going so far off the trail, and your question is you on the trail going, we're over here.
But this is the information we need to do the thing that we would all like to do, right? Yeah.
Anyways, all right, good stuff. Any other questions jump out there as the bots attack?
Yeah, no, I'm going through see if the best adult dating site had anything that they wanted to talk about. Any questions about the best lightsaber handle? No. Ronell Sykes says on the go Luthen would have IPA, and that I can get behind.
Yeah.
I think that a really sharp IPA that stabs you in the roof of the mouth, I think Luthen would like that.
Yeah. Oh, Joseph
stabs your mouth.
Oh, there he is. Oh, I got you.
What?
Luthen heard you talking.
Oh, okay. Did he shut me up?
Shut you up. Yeah. No, good stuff. No, we didn't miss anything from you there. No, that's so funny, because you and I had lunch yesterday with Mark Ellis, and I can tell when Mark is on the go, doesn't want to make a lot of decisions. It's Pilsner time. I just know what he's like, Pilsner or IPA, something simple. That's Luthen. I'm basing Luthen on Mark Ellis.
There's a lot of great speculation about the name of the brothel here among our wonderful friends.
Oh, yeah. I saw that. There we go. Molly. Of course, Molly would have an answer for that. Where did it go? Yeah. Oh, yeah. Alex asked there. Hey, where'd you go? Oh, can I not can't bring the questions up on the screen right now. Oh, that's fun. Good to know. Star Wars Explained says, does the brothel have as good a name as the Galactic Antiquities and Objects of Interest? And I think Matthew Stokes went down and said that would be the answer. That would be the title.
Yeah, I would like the brothel, since it's illegal. I would like it to have the cheeky name of we're not even supposed to be here, and that's just the name of the brothel. Oh no, Tim, go away. All right.
We're back on. See, there's something in the air. There's something in the air. All right, that's good. We're back on. You flashed on. Weird. We've been having so many weird. Has anyone out there else? Everyone been experiencing weird technical problems on whatever system you use?
Yeah. Okay. I thought that was a Star Wars question, and somebody saying, "What about a mango habanero whiskey?" I just saw mango habanero, and I thought it was a question about an obscure Star Wars character that I had not heard of. Mango habanero. All right.
I like that as a salsa. I don't know if I'd have it as a whiskey. Check it out. All right. We got this one here. Oh, go for it.
No, you.
I'm just weirded out by what happened on StreamYard, just resetting everything. So there. Anakin Crespin. Hey, Anakin. We appreciate the super chat. Hey, guys. I know Ken has been catching up on a stack of comics lately. What have you been reading? Have you gotten to the Eye of the Storm yet? Joseph, you like me? You just get all of them as well, right?
Yeah, I wait for them to be bundled at least into the trade paperbacks instead of the single issues on Comixology, and I'm way behind. I really want to get caught up on War of the Bounty Hunters. I haven't read Eye of the Storm yet, but I really want to, so I need to get on that. I'm deeply behind.
Yeah, I think I'm 2 issues into Eye of the Storm, but now that I think about it, the other ones aren't in my stack that I have to read, so I have to go to my shop and figure out what happened. Long story short, I had the same shop, 2 locations. They closed one. They moved my pull list over the other one. I think some things dropped off. So actually, that's a great reminder for me, Anakin, that I need to go check that out. Other than that, I read all of them. It just takes me a bit. So I'm enjoying. I really enjoy the Han Solo Chewbacca one that's going on right now. Love Kira as a character. The Crimson Dawn, Crimson Reign stuff hasn't pulled me in yet. To be honest about that. But great team behind it. So maybe we'll get there. The War of the Bounty Hunters is great, and I'll do a shout out to our buddy Alex and Molly over Stars Explained. They put a video kind of tracking the events in that, and I watched it. I don't even know when the video came out, but it popped up, and I was like, I need to watch this because I read that entire War of the Bounty Hunters, and I don't remember any of the details of when, where, why. It was a good video to kind of put it all together.
Yeah, I mean, the biggest engagement that I've had with the comics is it took me a long time to find all of the trade paperbacks that would tell the War of the Bounty Hunters story, from the actual limited series to the one-shots to the individual episodes of the different individual comics. Yeah, and Eye of the Storm two-parter.
Yeah, thank you, Anakin. I appreciate the $2 you sent us to save me from buying $18 of comics. I appreciate that.
I did find a question from a little while back here from Mason Harris at 4:35 p.m.
Got it.
Who says, how close do you think we are to the start of Rebels? I know they're both in 5 BBY, but I think the ISB rumor mill would be a buzz with stories about Kallus tracking this rebel cell with potential Jedi. Yeah, I mean, I know other people have it firmly in their mind, but I think that we are definitely before Rebels, not a long time before Rebels, right? But I mean, that is definitely a Googleable, or I'm sure other people know the answer off the top of their head. But for me, just watching this show, just in terms of everything that's going on, that the rebel is the various rebel factions are not even as connected as they were at the beginning of Rebels, right? And also, like, this story, it seems like the stories that we're getting are building towards more awareness on both sides of the problem.
No, clearly. And you got Deidre over there, like we're oddly rooting for her. Like, a funny note on that. I watched that episode after you and I recorded our deep dive with Grace, my fiance, and she had the same reaction. She was kind of like, why is no one listening to her? And I'm like, I know, but also we don't want anyone to listen to her. We don't want anyone to listen.
It's just like a great lesson in the power of storytelling. And I think sometimes why you want to be responsible about storytelling, right? We want to root with the person who is positioned as being the protagonist, positioned as being the underdog. And we want to root for the person who is right when no one is listening to them, and not morally right, just factually correct. But then also, I think there's this great instinct that we all have, probably from bad business meetings, that Partagaz says, this is the kind of work I need you to be doing. And she's like, I did exactly that. And he's like, slaps down. There's all these things that make you root for her when you don't want to be.
I mean, another case of a woman explaining the truth and men going, nah. But I'm just right. It's the Empire.
You're just good at quotas of prisoners. Do that.
Yeah. Do that. Anyways, in terms of the Rebels, the interesting thing, I think it's very close. It's right on the cusp, and maybe Kallus will show up in season 2. We'll have a live action Kallus saying there's a problem with all. I don't know. Arinda Price will show up. It could be, but what's fascinating for me is 5 years out from Yavin to have the Rebel Alliance this scattered and, quite frankly, non-existent, right? Is fun for me because it challenges even my previous understanding of the story, that I knew this was the case, that Mothma was pulling these things together in different cells, but it's so scattered, and it's so scattered close to Yavin. To me, the way I take that is it adds importance to Yavin and Scarif in that time period. That time was running out, and the Death Star only adds to that. That the galaxy could have truly faded away if they didn't get their act together as a group, and if this didn't come together. It took this long, 15 years, 14 years, and it needs to happen that fast, if that makes sense. I actually kind of like that we're this close, so to speak, and we still gotta come on, Rebellion, get your act together.
Yeah, no, and I love that intensity. I love seeing that there's still like, okay, Saw's been just, this is a violent fight, let's go from the beginning. But other people are like, is there other ways? What pressure points can we have? I like that this close to everything. Mothma's still trying to get solutions through in the Senate, and that just makes it a really interesting trip to to actual full-blown conflict.
Yeah, which look makes even thinking of Rogue One, like Mothma going to Bail and that close to Yavin, what, a week out roughly, saying, "Hey, your Jedi friend." That shows me that it took longer than maybe even I thought. That if the heat started really coming down and they took big military action earlier, she might have already said that.
Yeah,
the fact that it was a week out from Yavin, I kind of like that.
I know we're going to get these answers, but I have a question for you, Ken. Do you think Mothma has divorced Perrin by the time of her great speech in Rebels when she announces the rebellion, or did she leave him on Coruscant on purpose, and you could cut between her moving speech, the Young Alliance showing up, and back on Coruscant, just death troopers are arresting Perrin, and he's like, I had nothing to do with it. I wanted things to be fun. I have an inside joke with Sly Moore. Don't arrest me.
Sly Moore is really fun at parties. Yeah. Oh, that's hilarious. Yes. Tragic, because I want her to leave that marriage. I think this season 2 ends with not the rebel speech. It ends with her divorcing Perrin with a similar speech. That's how it ends. or maybe season 2 begins that way, since I know season 2 is going to really take us up to Rogue One.
Hopefully with a public speech, a rousing public speech. In order for us to move into the future, we all must free ourselves from unnecessary shackles, like my husband, Perrin.
My husband, Perrin. Don Haber was likely of Akbar being one of Mothma wants to bring the circle. Good. Hi, baby. I'd love to see Akbar show up.
Yeah, that would be amazing.
It. And Radis, of course, but I'd love it. Also because I think I probably die in this hill too much, Joseph, of like, I'm fine. I'm so fine with Akbar's Last Jedi death and how it was handled. I really am. And the old Akbar for Holdo switch out, which is a bigger conversation about people's problems with new characters and female characters. That's a different conversation. But I still, just the idea of Akbar delivering any of those lines in that movie, you can't have it. So I'd love Akbar to show up in Andor and try to have a serious, whispered, intense conversation with Mothma. Lower your voice. Like it wouldn't work. But I do love Akbar. I hope he shows up.
They've already broken the S-word barrier. So I want Akbar to be in there just swearing up a storm. Oh, this situation, it's bullshit. It's a
yeah. Do that. Oh, that's awesome. Great question, because it's all on the table. I want Madine to show up, Radis, Akbar, all of it, with the practicalities of Tony Gilroy writing those scripts, and they're like, great, Fishman has to deliver him. Would be hilarious.
Yeah, could be a character we've never met. Yet another Mon Cala. Got another question up here at 4:35 p.m. from Oscar Film Forecast Esquire. Oscar F. Forecast. Oscar says, we see a lot of plays and entertainment based on events within their world in Game of Thrones. Do you think there are holo plays about events in Star Wars?
Oscar, that's a great question. Great.
I think so. They're in the books. There's so many discussions of holo plays. Like even Finn had access to holo plays, right? And I think it's in Resistance Reborn where he is talking about kind of seeing these heroic characters and kind of wanting to be like that, but not understanding the true nature of the galaxy. So I definitely think that there are some holo plays of long ago events. I don't know if there's like, the destruction of the first Death Star. I don't know if that's a holo.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, maybe if C-3PO started a podcast, that'd be great. I love it. I don't know what Squid Lake is about. I'm sure there's an answer. I'm sure there's someone that's taking a dive, but that could be very well be the story of something on Mon Cala that's historical. So I think yes. I think the Finn answer is great. That's something we know is out there. And now we got a perfect with High Republic so far in the past, maybe some new Star Wars storytelling can dramatize, I should say, not dramatize,
That
High
seems right
Republic.
to me, like a couple hundred years old, right?
Yeah.
And like real stories or real myths, you could have different spins on it, right? Like, because once Palpatine takes over, the Hollows, I'm sure, change the narrative, and like every narrative is about, a triumphant figure who defeated a scary outsider and brought order
Yeah.
and security through violence and strength, like because that's what he would want the message to be constantly, right?
Yeah.
Uh, Anyone mystical is defeated by a strong government and its leader. But you could
Yeah.
take stories from 200 years ago that, like, oh yeah, we know these names from Hollows over the years, but now there's a different spin on them to promote what he wants to
Yeah.
promote.
Love that idea. Palpatine in the arts is something I'm interested in, in terms of storytelling and what you could do with that and what he thinks of it, what it means, what you could communicate through it, this is a weird comparison. Maybe it's not. What is it, 36 Olympics at Berlin, where Jeff Bowen runs and races and wins in front of Hitler. Like, that has meaning beyond the sport. And yeah, if you put some meaning to some of the art and people trying to communicate via art in front of Palpatine, I'd like to see that.
Yeah. How would you feel? This is a question for you, Ken, as well as everybody in the chat.
Mhm.
Everybody has been loving Andor being a little bit more gritty and grounded. We see people just working their life, going on dates, picking their favorite pub of the many that are available to them.
Yeah. Yeah.
We saw Tim's socks, his just boring old gray socks, right? Would we want to see characters in Andor watching things like a Hollow? Because uh, I think there's this fascinating line for me, and I know fans are all at different points of, like, it's cool to see grounded real life people, but at what point does it become like this isn't enough? They're in a fantasy world. Like, do we want to see him scrolling on social media too? Do we want to see him grocery shopping? Like, how much day to day becomes too much day to day for different fans is fascinating to me.
This is a great question. It's probably a personal threshold that the content crosses or not, because you and I both agree. We love the pod race. I know Fodes and Bede is at least some of the stuff Fodes and Bede's they say rubs against some of your Star Wars love, shall we say, and mine as well. Where it all made sense.
The
It's an
bots are
event.
coming back after you said rub it against my Star Wars love. There were 5 bots.
Oh, I got to get back down. See, I'm up above in the scroll there.
I'm sorry.
No, the bots are bots. Yeah, but my point, I guess my point is, even when I hear, like, the Poe Dameron comic line, which was a great line, had a wonderful character that was a news reporter turned resistance fighter. And I loved the character, loved that. But I remember kind of thinking, I don't know, I just don't see anyone turn on the evening news in Star Wars. And that's not necessarily the case. Even Palpatine going to a Mon Calamari opera is pretty real world, and it worked. I don't have a problem with it. It just depends on how. Even Lando recording the Lando, Calrissian Chronicles is a great moment I love in the movie. But I'm like, what does he post it? What does he have an RSS feed? Like, what does he do?
Yeah.
So I'd love to see it, because even with Dryden Voss and his party and Vat Weirdo, your buddy Vat Weirdo, Lulio Primarch, that so works for me. So I'd love to see it on that level, where maybe you do have a quote movie star, a holo star in Star Wars. I think I know who I'd want to do it, and tell a story around it. But like, I don't know where my line is, because I do butt up against it, and the whiskey's talking all stuff.
Yeah, no, I understand. Whiskey's been behind almost everything I've said. Yeah, no, I think to me, it is all about the presentation. If it is just different enough, right? Like, what kind of device do they watch it on? How is it presented? Is it a slightly, honestly, if it's a slightly older style, because I think I go back to, 1977, and Finger and Dan music is kind of alien, but it's also just Benny Goodman. It's just a style of jazz. But, when I was a kid, even when I was a teen, it's like, that's that ancient music from like 40 years ago. Even that gives it a little bit of different like distance, if it almost felt the style of presentation. I'd be happy to see it because I've said this, and so many other people have said it as well, that I like Cassian feeling like the novel. I loved hearing about Calf. And I'd like to see the Hollows on screen.
Yeah. Yeah, and I'm hoping at some point in Andor, someone says, hold on, I've got to use the refresher. I don't need bathroom humor, but I'd love at one point someone to get on the Falcon and be like, oh, hey, where's your refresher? That was a tough mission.
And if the Lando show does come to pass, and it is framed as a Calrissian Chronicles, I need it to start with in-universe ads. Hey, Calrissian Chronicle listeners. Have you checked out Guapo's Capes? The cape store in the 9 planets.
I love that. I love that. There we go. So we got a couple super chats coming in here. We'll get to those there. We also someone I think says I look like Brazos, and I like that.
That's a compliment.
Little different built ethnically, but I tracks. It tracks. It's better than when people used to call me Ted Cruz on Jedi Alliance. So I'll take that. Yeah. Part of the reason I grew the beard. All right. Matthew Stokes says whiskey is talking. I hope the final shot in Andor season 1 fades to black for whatever the hero's final shot is. Cut to close in shot of a long white cape and dialogue. Are we blind? Deploy the shorter cape. Matthew, that's good use. Very good use of a super chat. Joseph, this is the Krennic in the room. I absolutely believe Tony Gilroy, the man who actually directed Rogue One, would come in and not think at some point Ben Mendelsohn should show up.
Yeah, I mean, it is just absolutely he would think that. And then I think he would think, how does that work in the narrative? What's the story, right?
Yeah.
Like in the story that we're seeing in the first season of Andor is, how does Andor get past this kindness and empathy and anger to truly making the choice to be involved. So in the second season, once he's involved, I feel like, obviously I think we're going to see him doing lots of not great things for the cause, but like what his actual character arc is and what's the actual question, right? Is it great? We've established all these cells. Can they work together?
Yes.
And how could Krennic possibly fit into that storyline? Because if there's any way for Krennic and the Death Star to fit in, of course you'd want to, right?
Yeah, you already got the reference to Scarif and extra supplies going to Scarif. That's a fun little reference, but yeah, it just makes a lot of sense to me. I don't know. You got to, part of it's just, I got to be honest. I just want to see Ben Mendelsohn as Krennic back in Star Wars, and this is an opportunity to do it. By the way, I'd love to see Riz Ahmed as Bodhi Rook and any of those characters if they find a way. Alan Tudyk as K2S, so we pretty much know it's going to happen. But yeah, that's a great one. But joke aside, I'd like to see that conversation too. The cape is too long.
Oh man, I mean, are we blind? Deploy the blank is just are we blind? Deploy the garrison is one of my favorite lines of Krennic's, but to use it as a fill in the blank.
Yeah.
Are we blind? Deploy the guacamole.
Yeah, a lot of people are pointing out great examples of when they see Holo nets. We got our Holo-dramas. Ezra and Zeb watching one. Yeah, there's a lot of great examples. There. I just want to put this comment up from John Myers, who also pointed out one about the Rebels. Fellow Star Wars guy, you're both my favorite content creators. Thank you for analyzing Star Wars in the most complete and profound way possible. Makes me ponder. I'm currently binging the podcast from the beginning.
Wow. I
apologize for the quality of mics back in 2015.
That is amazing commitment. Thank you very much.
No, we appreciate it. And not just here to highlight the nice things about us. We appreciate it. It's just, I'll be honest, Joseph, I've just been down this year trying to find out if there's any purpose in what I do in life. So I like acknowledging when nice things come.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, a lot of great comments. The promotional shorts for Rebels had HoloNets in a news format of Lothal. Yeah, no, that's great. That is great. I think I do vaguely remember those. But yeah, I would love to see in live action somebody watching a narrative.
Yeah.
Do Marva and B2 Emo have a soap opera they watch? Like, I would love to see that.
Well, also, that's amazing too. Like, I'd love to see more of Marva as a mother, right? Where Andor's, comes home from a tough day at school. I can't imagine schools on Ferrix were, easy peasy stuff there. And maybe he has to start his career in the scrapyards early. And they sit down and watch stories. What a bonding experience. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think, like I think in the books they have lots of different, like, holo novels and
yeah.
So I think that's the thing I'm interested in is the narrative, because people are pointing out a lot of great things about watching news or watching, like the dancer in the first episode of Andor, and I'm just so interested in them watching the story within the story. That'd be so cool.
Story within the story.
Marva definitely watches The Price is Right.
Yes.
Nice.
By the way, I keep blocking this bot, but if anyone wants to go to the best adult dating site, by all means, click the link. I'm not here to stop anyone. There we go. All right. Got that cleared. Any other question popping out here? And then we're gonna have a super chat coming in here. Thank you all.
Yeah. This is a great comment from Mason Harris about the Holo thing as well. This is at 4:56 p.m. Mason says, in a Legends book, Luke watches a holodrama where someone presents the end of Return of the Jedi as him brutally killing Vader, and it actually gives him pause because he doesn't want to be viewed as that as a Jedi. Yeah, that's great. I think that's the kind of stuff that I think that I'd be interested in seeing if we saw narrative holos of what's the spin on events we know, or even events we don't know, but we could kind of guess, like, that's a clearly fictionalized account of some ancient thing.
Yeah, no, that's great. And the, Victor, history is told by the victors, all those kind of stuff. Or even, I've talked often about the Game of Thrones history where George R. R. Martin very intentionally puts unreliable narrators as the authors of history. And it's fun. And it leads to, we're seeing that, not to turn to the House of Dragon, but there's a particular character, Alicent Hightower, who a lot of people are rooting against, understandably, but in the book, she was written from such a point of view that wasn't hers. And we're getting to see hers, and people are butting up against that.
Weird because they've taken the book as that's what it said in the book, period.
Yeah, and of course, Game of Thrones, a lot of people do bad things every day of their life. But it's been fun. It's been fun, but it's been interesting to watch some of the commentary about her and who's kind of beholden to the text, which was written by a maester who had a very clear point of view about her. And based on information he heard about, and it's never from her. And now you got two performers, Emily Carey and now Olivia Cook, bringing their experiences in their thoughts into this character and make her three-dimensional. And I'm one of the ones who are like, I kind of get where she's coming from. And I've actually get some people tweeting me, boo. Anyways, there, Big Lou is here. The party can start. Big Lou is here. One of my favorites. Big Lou, thank you again for your seasoning you sent me. I use it on almost everything. So,
is this code or was this actual seasoning? Okay,
actual seasoning from Big Lou's barbecue seasoning. There, put yourself over, Big Lou. It's great. And I don't cook meat in the house, but it works on meat replacements. But it works on a lot of other things too. Salads. I put it on salads.
Nice. Oh, that's great. I think we do have a question here from Brian Jackson, Mr. McClunky.
McClunky.
There we go. A silly question. October is your title, so in that theme, would the Star Wars universe have an Oktoberfest?
Yeah.
And what would that be like? Or is there just Life Day? Does Star Wars even have an October? That is going to keep me up at night. The existential dread of, does Star Wars even have an October?
First of all, I saw some stuff earlier. I have changed the stream information. Joseph can attest to this. I have been a day off all week. So we were supposed to have a Q's episode yesterday, and it didn't go out because I set it for Friday. Because I thought Friday was Thursday. And I thought today was Saturday. And so when I filled out this YouTube thing, I put October for the Q&A. It is September. I'm aware of this now.
So we will do another one in October, right?
Yes, we will.
Our true ForceCenter Q&A Oktoberfest. Yeah. Oh, I want to. Go for it, Ken.
Does Star Wars even have an October? That's a great question. I'd love to know. a little bit because I've been doing so much Lord of the Rings research. I've always loved the world, but because of Rings of Power and reviewing it on Casually Talk, I'm diving in a little more detailed. And I know the first age, second age, third age, and I know the years, but they have months. They have our months. And I'm fascinated by that because Tolkien is the type that would create 12 months that aren't ours, but he kept our months. And I'm fascinated by that. I don't know the whole story, and there might be some Tolkien scholars out there. So I would love to know the Star Wars calendars around the galaxy. And then if there is a spooky season and it is a holiday that's the equivalent. Life Day does kind of ring as our Thanksgiving or Christmas for me that season. We definitely put it in that, and it's definitely aired on CBS as that. But I'd love a Star Wars Halloween. And I know there's a book series, George Mann and a lot of other folks put those books out. There might be some of that answers in that, but I did not read those, to be honest.
Yeah, that George Mann book is literally behind me on my bookshelf, and I have not had a chance to read the myths, the kind of the stories within that are told within the galaxy, which I think that's a great idea. Yeah, I like the idea that Life Day seems to obviously big on Kashyyyk, but it seems to be other places as well. And it is it's a holiday that is based on an idea, right? Kind of on the secular, warm, cozy. This is a time to remind us of why we all come together and why we all matter to each other, right? So I could see. Sadly, I don't think October necessarily exists.
Right.
But very sadly, they keep track of years. They must break them up into something. I want there to be weird space months.
Right.
I want them to have weird names. Or, maybe they're units, right?
Units kind of works. Or
this has been Zaketh unit.
What are you doing on the 15th of Bunta?
Oh yeah. Well, that's another. Yeah. So I think that the fascinating thing is all the different the planets or the places that are more connected and more aligned, right? Like the core planets are going to have a lot more holidays because it is about holidays are about like cultural glue, right?
Yeah.
If you just live in a small community, it's your small community's cultural glue. The larger community that you have who all celebrate the same thing, it's cultural glue. So I think it would be great if there was some kind of it's like Halloween or other, cultural festivals that's like it's okay to be scared. Let's have fun playing with looking at the darkness and letting that part of ourselves out a little bit and show ourselves that it's okay, and then, put it away for a little while. That would be great. I think that is, in the High Republic era, when Lena So has her great works, I think way down at the bottom was create a spooky Halloween that the whole galaxy can celebrate together. Once we've connected everybody and everybody has enough food and the Nile aren't murdering us every time we try to have a festival, it's spooky time.
What is what does Mothma celebrate? Her husband's celebrating his Day of Days. Is that what
Day
she
of
said?
Days? Yeah, and I like that canon. That Chandrilla is one of these places that has a holiday for everything, and they have that little joke about it.
It's such a moody blues album from '78. It's the Day of Days.
Yeah, and I love Empire Day, which is like just the opposite of a holiday, right? Like it is an enforced, like it isn't a. We've all found something that is true about communal about the experience of existing, and we want to celebrate this idea together. Instead, it's Palpatine being like, hey, remember the day I did this gesture? We're gonna celebrate that.
Yeah, I love that. There are a lot of good thoughts about the Aaron Moat saying Dathomir hosts a killer haunted house. I love that. Big Lou says it's October. That track. Definitely not Trey. As his username on my Discord is Trey from Portland checks in, says Wikipedia lists a galactic standard calendar as an entry for that. He says, the days of the week are crazy. You better start listing them, Trey. At this point, you better start listing them. Big Lou says, this Sunday is my Day of Days. Happy Day of Day to you.
Happy Day of Days.
Many meets in your future.
I got you an Utapauan monk cudgel.
Monk cudgel. Mine October, says Brian Ward. There you go. There you go. And then someone said up there about, I think it was Johnny C. You would think that different planets would have different amounts of months depending on the distance from the sun, which is always part of the fun thing of about Star Wars. Occasionally you do run into that in storytelling, or at least, I don't know, in Wikipedia entries of, yeah, this planet has a different amount of days, hours. You have to take that in consideration when you're flying around this galaxy.
Yeah, no, I mean, Tommy Steinbrecker here says maybe they get months the same way we get July and August. Some space conquerors with big egos name them after themselves,
Love that.
which is great. And Don Herbert,
perhaps.
Chieftember, perhaps. Don Hebert says, I imagine the Empire tries to quash any local planet holidays and concepts of time for the sake of homogenous control. That's the idea that I'm really interested in, rambling about. They're about cultural things. I bet in the Empire, it's like, yeah, they're standard Imperial time, Coruscant time, whatever time Sheev says it is time.
Yeah.
And you can see, especially like in some of those Clone Wars episodes where their little cultures going like, I know you got your thing. We know what day we think it is. We know what year we believe it is. That's our year. We don't need Sheevtober here. Thank you very much.
The question is, what day does the Time Grappler say it is? That's what I love. Trey T's got the information. Days of the week are Prime Day, Syntax Day,
Prime Day,
Zell Day, Bendu Day. It goes down the next line. Bendu Day. I see. It's broken up. Bendu Day.
Benduda Day. Prime Day. I'm gonna guess that this is from a resource book or from Legends era, long before Amazon became quite powerful. I love that it's Prime Day, which is when Lando orders his capes from Guapos.
That's great. We got a shout out from our buddy Ken Plume. Just a howdy to Joseph and Earth 257. Ken, yeah, I am Ken Plume and another Earth.
Howdy, Ken.
Yeah, you guys should check out Ken Plume's Force 5 show on his YouTube channel. Joseph and I have both been on there. You had Dan Larson, who a big fan of Dan. I don't know Dan, but Dan Larson from Toy Galaxy is I love his channel, and he was just on Ken's channel too. So there you go. Oh, we got a kind of a deeper answer to that. Tong Day. I don't know if I'm saying that right. They were the ancestors of the Mandos in Legends, and the Zell were from Coruscant. There you go. I like that.
I think if any creator dances anywhere near days and months and needs that answer in the script, I think Star Wars lore advisor Pablo Hidalgo is gonna have lots of fun with Tong Day.
Tong Day. Love that there. I got really excited. I thought Alex Damon said, "Hey Ken" to me, and I realized it was Ken Plume, which is great. It's great.
Yeah. Absolutely great stuff.
Yeah. Love that.
A lot of great suggestions.
Yeah. Keep your questions coming in here. We'll be here for about another 45 minutes or until a Chihuahua needs to go potty. Actually, only got one Chihuahua in the house today, so our chances of making it are great. But yeah, keep your questions coming. We appreciate your super chats. We definitely love that as we try to keep the show going and keep it going strong. Love that.
Yeah. We got
5 days in a week, 7 weeks in a month, 10 months, 368 days in a year, says the Angels. The Angel's Shadow.
Nice.
Is that Coruscant time? Am I understanding that correctly?
I would assume so.
I love that Palpatine's like, no weekends. Let's just keep that. No weekends.
Oh, I think he does lots of little things to just annoy the entire galaxy, right? Because he feeds off it, right? If everybody's just grumpy, right?
He is so petty too. He's so petty.
Oh my God. I bet, you know what? I think one of his first commands, I think he turned to Masamita after that speech and said, make taxes more complicated.
Make the tax code difficult to understand. Love that.
We do have a kind super chat back at 5:02 p.m. Earth Standard Time, West Coast Earth Standard Time, from Kenosis.
Yep, good call.
Can you responsibly speculate, of all his artifacts, do you think there may be a special reason why Luthen chooses to wear a kyber crystal? Oh, yeah, I can speculate. Don't know if I can do it responsibly. What I love that what is contained in the episode is that he says it's ancient, and in grumpy, more honest Luthen terms, that comes across to me as reverent. And then he says, of course, that it's this artifact of an uprising from an invasion, which, from Googling some legends connections there. So I like that it has meaning to him that it's an uprising, right? Because I think he's a guy who clearly values freedom. That little speech, right? In that third episode about that voice telling you when to go, when to stop, when to live. So I like that there's meaning in that. But I really did like that little bit of connective tissue that so much of, curious antiquity and curious object, Luthen, it is a front, is a fakery, but his respect for actual history, right?
Yeah.
Is real. So I think that I'm really curious if he has any sort of opinion on the Force, the belief in that, if he has sort of respect for kyber, but not necessarily respect for, maybe he's even one of these guys of like, yeah, the Force is real, kyber's real, and Jedi kind of made it all about themselves, and look how that turned out. I could see that. I like right now that he respects something that is truly physically ancient and natural and has, inherent power in itself, but has also become a symbol of a resistance against an occupying force.
Yeah.
That stuff is all really powerful to me.
You're saying a lot of deep stuff that I've had too much whiskey and apple juice to follow up on. But I love all of it there because I'm also looking at people in chat saying, hey, like maybe he was Big Luce's. My theory is Luthen's a former Padawan who could not pass his trials. A lot of stuff like that. I think it's all the recurring purpose, basically the Empire of the Ancient Days. This is story inspiration for Return 2. Yeah, a lot of that there. I think that's it. And I'm not so familiar with the Knights of the Old Republic games and stories, but I know that it's kind of from that. But yeah, that this one particularly, he has a connection to it. Maybe he has a direct line of blood. He's a blood relation to some people who were in that fight, and maybe it's something that's always been in his heart. But also, you and I are both fascinated by, as we learn about this character, the idea that when the moment with Andor, when Andor's kind of given his wonderful, like, you just walk right in, you're spitting your food, they don't care, they're arrogant, and Luthen has that, like, yeah, like they did with me, and he like trails off, and it's just there's something in the story there that I think will all connect. Maybe won't get the specific story about the necklace from him, but it tracks in that way for me. I don't know.
I think we'll get something. I think the amount of questions that are being raised of like, I do not mean this in a jokey way, of what is his damage?
Yeah, right.
Like,
yeah.
I feel like there is an inciting incident to his utter level of commitment.
Yes.
To this, and I agree with what everybody's saying. I think it's about a symbol of rebellion. And the really interesting part to me is the kyber part of it significant to him, other than
right,
it's historic, it has inherent power.
Yeah, absolutely. Sorry, I'm texting a pal to see if this pal can join us here. I love that, and this is what I love about Luthen, man. It's not just that he's grumpy and he's got great lines. It's I want to know more about the story and why someone of his position connects to this so powerfully, as does Mothma. Mothma's high above, and you and I had that question. Have you thought about that more too since we recorded this week? Of, did Luthen start high and know he has to go low for the fight? Did he start low and knows he has to pretend on high to make the fight work? I'm still wondering about that.
I think he had at least one foot in the upper class world, because I think he understands it very well. Right. I mean, I think there's like
he knows what he has to do. Yeah.
Right. I mean, even if you think about it in real world terms, right, there are people who are born into, wealth and power, right? And then there are people who have success that they start without much wealth or power. They find success and they find themselves living their adult life in a place of wealth and power, but they know what it is to be close to the earth and real. And I almost feel like is his story that he came from somewhere, like, not necessarily Canary, but like a community, a normal, small, working together community, like we see in Andor, achieved some great success, found himself in the halls of power of Coruscant. So he understands both worlds, but he's much more connected to where he began.
Yeah, no, I love that take too, and I can't wait to find out. I cannot wait for the first Black Series release of Luthen. And
Yeah.
this is funny. You could tell Pablo Hidalgo's happier right now because he's tweeting a lot more about Star Wars present day, and I know he had a lot to do with this, and I know he loves Rogue One. And Pablo's visual guide for Rogue One is some of the best work out there. He tweeted this thing that I so agree with. How crazy is it to think that we've had both Werner Herzog and Stellan Skarsgård saying Star Wars lines? That's bonkers awesome. That's bonkers awesome.
Yeah, that's absolutely great.
There you go. Ken Plume says, as a historian and antiquities dealer who's presumably traveled the galaxy, wouldn't he have also had a wide-ranging front row seat to seeing the Empire's destruction and corruption of many worlds? Short answer, yes.
Yeah, I think so. I think
absolutely.
And I think that's what like Mothma's garbage husband is about, right? Like if you just stay in the lap of luxury of Coruscant, it's theoretical politics far away, right? And somebody like Luthen is like, this is real. It's everywhere. The Empire is taking everyone's. I mean, I think that's part of his disgust at wearing that mask is that he knows he's standing in this room full of items have been taken. Like, I would imagine Luthen would love to drink some hard Wookiee whiskey up in the trees with the Wookiees, right?
Yeah.
He knows what the Empire has done to them, and he's furious.
Love that. All right, so Joseph here. I'm even surprised in you here. We're going to switch to the old lower third I'd set up a long time ago.
Oh, my.
Because we're going to add Alex Damon to chat here.
Yay.
Alex Damon is live. I texted Alex, and I was like, look, man, you're here. You're in chat. Get on here. No, I said something else, but
yeah, I was downstairs just watching and listening, and also the Hasbro Pulse selfie thing just came out. So I was taking pictures of my face and trying to see how it worked. And my action figure, if I go through with it, is going to look like a giant baby.
Wait, what is it? What I'm so lost on this. And we got a great super chat here from Christopher Wick. I'll bring up here. You two make me happy. Now the three of us make you happy.
Yay.
And Molly's welcome to join too. I know Molly's probably downstairs tired of our faces after seeing us for so many hours last week or 2 weeks ago. Alex, are you telling me that we can build our own figures? What are you saying?
Yeah, so Hasbro just came out with something called a selfie series. You can get the Hasbro Pulse app, and then you can take a selfie. You basically like point at your face, turn. It'll try to match your face up, and then it will try to make an action figure using your face. You can do a stormtrooper, a rebel pilot, a Mandalorian, Leia's kind of like Hoth gear. So you have like 4 or 5 options, and then you add hair to it and stuff. But I don't know. I think I need better lighting or something.
Yeah, I'm waiting for the Jedi. To hop for the selfie series.
How did I miss this? When did this happen?
Well, a bunch of other stuff was happening. Is why. Well, I mean, we know this from just the action figures that come out, which I think in general they're all quite high quality. But
I'm going to do it right now
faces.
so you can see it.
Oh, with what the action figure is going to turn out?
Is after this stream, when I have the rest of this whiskey, I will do it, and then I'll probably order all of them.
Careful. But they have challenges with some faces. There's some that are like, that's amazing, that's spot on, and they cannot make the glory that is Oscar Isaac's face to save their souls, right? So what I'm saying, Alex, is if yours doesn't turn out, it's because you're as handsome as Oscar Isaac.
Oh, that's very nice. Okay, yeah, all right. I mean, I could tell it's me. It just has a very. You'll see it in a second.
Dare I ask, what is the going price? What is the price to go at roughly? What are they saying?
$60.
I mean, Christmas is around the corner.
It's 2,000 whoopie-uppies.
Oh no, this one looks worse.
Well, we caught you unawares there.
So that's
that is not Star Wars Explained. That is not Star Wars Explained. That's not Alex I've met.
Were you smiling when you took it?
Yeah, you just watched me do it.
Is that what they think a smile is?
Hold on, let me.
Oh man, that opens up a world of possibilities, though.
I bet they're going to put out a patch that says you have to keep your mouth closed. We're not doing everybody's teeth.
I'm also pretty upset that of the facial hair options, there's none that are just a mustache. They all have a mustache and a soul patch.
Okay.
But there's what it would be. The Rebel
There you go.
pilot.
Okay.
Baby.
Nah. Sorry, I changed the lower third. I realized I was covering up Joseph's head with a ForceCenter logo. We don't like
that's
that.
fine.
Can
you do another one?
Make me a new one. I'm kidding.
Yeah, Alex, can you do like real like pouty lips? Can you do like?
Yeah, I can do.
And
We can try something
if they'll
else.
do that.
Can you grow a mustache fast?
Oh no, that's interesting.
Draw one on and see if it pulls it up.
Yeah. Come
I
on.
didn't think
If you're
about
gonna do a
that.
figure, if you're gonna do a Star Wars figure and you don't grow a Biggs mustache, what are we even here for?
Well, it just came out today. If they gave me a month warning, then I would have been able to do that.
I need a week. Let's do it. I'll do it.
All right, pouty face.
Yeah, do it. Yeah. Joseph is right.
Exactly. Yeah. Oh my.
Beautiful. This is beautiful. Welcome everybody to the stream. We're hanging out here on a Friday. Oh yeah, work it.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Girl, look to the left. Yep, absolutely. Got it. Yep. Now sing a George Michael song. You got it. There we go. Look at that. Love it.
All right.
Anakin Craftsman says Hasbro PulseCon is this weekend and Star Wars panels tomorrow. Any hopes for reveals in the Black Series or TVC of the Vintage Collection? I'm hoping they show the Black Series chrysanthemum they've been working on. Yeah, because they needed to redo that. That first one that came out did not look good. I'm a chrysanthemum fan, and that was not good. Any thoughts, Joseph? I know you're still actively collecting figures more than I am.
I am.
Any hopes?
Yeah, I think in the realm of actual possibility, because they like to make Luke Skywalkers, I would love vintage or Black Series. I would love Luke's look from Book of Boba Fett, his hanging out peacefully on Jedi training planet with the little cross. Yeah.
Well,
because they're coming out with the one from him, Mandalorian, which is great, but it's just very similar to the classic, Luke look.
Yeah. Okay.
That I'm not sure if that's better or not. There's a
that's better. No, that's totally better.
Yeah,
that's totally better.
They kind of got they got the pout down a little bit. There's some 3D to the lips. I'm impressed.
Absolutely. There's some forward movement.
I love that there. And Big Lou says we'll keep this question going here about what figures you want. But speaking of Black Series figures, am I the only one that has a real hard time with them standing up on their own? I don't think so. I had the Black Series ATST that Mike Black had to train me on how to stand up during one of our early ForceCenter. We got to get Mike Black on the show one of these days.
Yes.
It was my old apartment. You remember my old apartment, Joseph? All of a sudden I'd be in the living room and I hear this like clunk, clunk, and the ATST would fall over again. So I'm with you.
Yeah.
I think it was Seth Green talked about putting magnets on the bottom of his figures, and then he would just have a metal plate that he would set them on and could do them in different poses and stuff.
That's great. That's a great idea. That's a great idea. You need those G.I. Joe pegs that they had back in the day, or the Phantom Menace pegs with the sound.
Yeah.
I put up Brian Ward's answer, Black Series Dexter. Truly, I absolutely wanted Dexter. I think the time is now for Dexter.
Yeah. I mean, the other thing that I continue to be hopeful is just a lot more from Rise of Skywalker, Restored Emperor, Ben Solo,
Oh, those are big wins. Older Lando. I know. Tragically, Lando doesn't sell. Every time I go to Target, there's still a Lando left. It's just, I'm going to buy all of them just to cast my dollar vote.
Freck.
Oh, Freck's good. But can we also get a behind the scenes version with Deborah Chow and Zach Braff in Freck headgear?
Braff sobbing.
I forgot about that. That was fun.
Yeah, it's intense.
I've got to have a Garcif whip.
Ooh, yes, big one. Oh, and the Astromech drummer. Oh, so much from Book of Boba Fett.
Yeah,
I wound up. I'm becoming that person, Joseph, to have one to open and one to display.
You are.
I used to just open them, but now like I got 2 Cobb Vance and 2 Antok Merricks, and I haven't opened any of them yet. I'm still like afraid.
Yeah.
No, I understand. Like I've got a couple that I bought 2 of that I need to have just like an opening festival one day. But if I don't open them right away, I kind of wait for like something to celebrate, a really good day or finishing a script or whatever.
I don't have those, so I don't open my figures as much. The fact that this is the only Tally Lentra I have right now is a travesty. And put Hermione Corfield in a Black Series 6-inch figure. Come on.
Yeah, absolutely. I've been seeing a lot of Antoc Merrick and Galen Erso in the stores because it's like, I understand for like collectors, it made sense to do some Black Series that's, Andor Rogue One adjacent. But I literally saw a kid in the aisle, which is, sadly kind of rare. Looking at the Galen Erso, like, why buy businessman? I don't understand.
That's so true. Every time I go to the toy aisle, I am alone. There's no kids hanging out there. Very rare. Very rare.
Yep. There is another question here that I didn't want to lose, but I might have lost it. Oh no. It is about our friend. There it is. It's from Matthew Stokes at 5:16 p.m.
Okay, scrolling.
And I'm very curious on Alex's take on this. Syril Karn redemption arc or seething Imperial badass waiting to happen. I'm sure you've already talked about this in your copious coverage, Alex. But do you have a prediction or even a hope, a preference for yourself?
For now, I am thinking he might be kind of the dark mirror version of Cassian, two people that were outside of those respective organizations, and then we might see them both rise through the ranks in opposite paths. I think for now, I'm always open for the alternative that he redeems himself, joins the Rebel Alliance, whatever. But for now, I think it would be more interesting to watch him go the Imperial route.
Yeah, no, I think that's a really good take. I feel like they are kind of they're set up that way. I feel like right now Luthen and Partagas are kind of set up as the mentor figures, and yeah, will Partagas see somebody like, ooh, he can be very manipulated to be useful in the long run, which makes me then think like it would the end of the entire Andor series be the final showdown between Andor and Karn.
Might be in some ways. I love this follow-up comment from Dave Taylor and two Mama's boys, which is true. I am fascinated by this. I'm fascinated by the work Kyle Solar is doing, and I really hope that it's not a redemption story, that it is a hardening story, which is I think has valuable lessons. Won't go too deep, but a lot of people know my past life as a former security director working in that world. I've personally arrested hundreds, been involved with thousands of arrests of people over 17 years. I've seen that side of life outside of the big organizations doing it for corporations. I just seen it. I see his face. I even was texting with my pal Joe Starr this week and was like, he's like, I really love what they're doing with that. I was like, that was me in 2005. Syril Karn was me in 2005. And you have to face some things about what you're trying to do with what you're actually doing. You have to reconcile those things. And when you come to that realization, that can change you or it can harden you. And I'm fascinated. He's doing not the best work in the show. Everyone's doing great work. I mean, God, Fiona Shaw is killing it and what she's doing it too. Everyone's killing it. I don't want a redemption story. I want to see a hardening story because I just think it has more valuable lessons for this story they're trying to tell. So, end rant.
Yeah, I really agree with you. I think somebody much earlier in the chat stream was saying when we were talking about kind of rooting for Dedra Meero, that they're also finding themselves rooting for Karn, which I totally understand because I think he is being positioned very well. We have the hint with his mother. I think we get more of somebody who's been programmed to basically say, unless you can get control and power over other people, then you have no value. And he hasn't been taught anything else. So that's what he believes. So all those looks on his face of just like utter misery and panic is like, I can't be validated by myself. I have to take something from other people in order to feel validated. And that the path that is interesting about that is, can he be deprogrammed, or is it just like, it's too deep. I don't know how to feel like I have value unless I have power over other people.
Yeah. And when you start to justify it in this way, like I saw this debate, like you and I, Joseph, talked about it on our show. And I don't know if you touched upon it, Alex, with Molly, but like Cassian murders two corpos. Now we can get into why, and we can get into what they did and what they did to Cassian and everything. But at the end of the day, he committed this crime. And if you're Syril and you only see that and you hold on to that, it's going to poison your view of what you're doing. And I think that's what I see in episode 3, where he's just like, I've talked about the hardening of the heart, where you're like, I'm trying to keep you safe, but really you're not. And you're not seeing what's true. And that's why the lies of Hein's lies aren't just another day at the office to keep this problem away. They're like, let's just keep this system going and keep we're lying to hide what we do. And it's not even an active malicious, let's hide the horrible things. It's just like, no, let's not tip over the apple cart. And when you find yourself lost in that, you can buy in or you can get out, and not even get out like he needs to leave his job, but like I argue with some of my friends from my own line of work, like, do what you think you're doing, because you're not. You think you're guardians of peace and justice, but you're not. Do that, and we might have a different view of you. Syril Karn does that, we might have a different view of you, but he's not. I think he's going to buy in fully. And I saw someone in chat, Deidre might recruit him. She might pull him in.
I think for sure.
Yeah.
I like looking at Karn as just he has good qualities, but they're corrupted. He is loyal, but to the company. He's not wrong to want to solve the case of murders, but I'm also curious how many murders he tries to solve that aren't company men. Like that's the big thing he's sticking to. He's like, 2 Primor employees are dead. It's like, anyone else die under your jurisdiction and you fought this hard to figure out who did it?
If it was the other way, if it's the other way around, not even that it was corpos or Primor or officers, what do you want to call them? But if Cassian's dead, what are you doing? And that's part. And again, this show is dealing in a higher. It's raising the stakes to tell the story. But yeah, like I think there's great purpose and great lessons and all of that. So yeah, I'll end my rant there.
It'd be fascinating to see him continue down this path and briefly feel joy. Because he thinks he's accomplished something and then still have nothing, Yeah. And I think this show has the room to really drive that point home about following that kind of dark side path.
And we're going to find out that his mother, I mean, that was that's what was that? 15 seconds, that scene maybe? And it was one of the best in the show so far for me.
Slap, hug, yell at a neighbor. What?
What are you looking
what
at?
an introduction.
What are you looking at? I forget that actor's name. We talked about her when the news broke on service, but Grace is a big fan of hers, and she freaked out. Was like, "Oh my God, I love her!" And then she slaps her son, and she's like, "I love her even more."
Yeah, so well done. So well done.
Ken Plume follows up with, need to know if Ken has bought out the Jar Jar stock. There is a new Jar Jar vintage figure out. And Ken, since you texted me about that, I haven't left my house. So no. And I haven't added to cart on any website. But no, I do want the new Jar Jar vintage. Alex, how much is Jar Jar are you collecting these days?
I know we have a Funko Pop. I don't think I have a whole lot of Jar Jar. I do have, the first time I won Dragon Con Star Wars trivia, the prize was a signed Jar Jar Binks picture signed by Ahmed Best. So I do have that as a treasure.
That's great.
Outside of that, I don't think much. But I've been very adamant that I will save my money by only collecting like certain characters. And that worked well for a while. I was like Biggs and Max Rebo, and that's fine. And I just keep adding more characters. And I added Cobb Vanth and Wrecker, B2 emos on the list now. So I'm running into trouble.
Running into trouble. The collector's mantra.
Yep. I've got this new shelf that is largely for action figures, to both store them and present them. And I told my wife that I was working on my Sheev shelf because it's true, working on a shelf to show my Palpatine figures, but now it's stuck in my head as I'm working on night moves. I'm like, I'm working on my Sheev shelf.
I can report there. I've been hadn't been to Joseph's house in like 2 years, but we shot something fun there yesterday. It's coming out on Joseph's personal YouTube channel. So make sure you're subscribed over there. But you've done some great work. A lot of collections on display at your house right now.
It is a lot that needs to be displayed. So I'm going to keep working on it. On the toy front here, David McKay says back at 5:33 p.m. That was the joke response to somebody else's response that I was trying to find that I missed. Anyway, when I find it, somebody pointed out that there are no Black Series of Crate Luke Skywalker.
Ooh, that's right.
In the vintage figure, I mean, I'm sure the vintage figure was expensive immediately and has rocketed up in price, which I don't know why they just haven't like made him more available again. It is really weird that Luke has not been more prominent in the toy market.
Yeah, we need to get that Luke out. Get that Luke.
Get that Luke out.
Hashtag. I want to put this coming up. Ken Plume has Karn. Going back to Karn, is every kid who throws himself into service allows that to define their personality, no experience the outside world, and unwilling to expand their worldview. And I think that is the a very succinct, non-whiskey fueled version of what I was trying to say.
Yeah, no, definitely. I mean, I think one of the things that makes him complex and interesting and makes us root for him or feel for him in a way is that speech. That failed speech was so brilliant.
The best.
Yeah.
The best. This has been fun. We're hanging out here. Alex, by the way, if you got to go at any point, I know you got a life to live, but we love hanging out with you. I'm just
waiting to do a happy hour with the Certain Point of View crew.
Oh, yeah.
That's in 20 minutes. So I'm just
okay. Cool. We'll keep you for a few minutes here. That's awesome. There, yeah. Check out A Certain Point of View. Big Schmodown weekend. Final Schmodown drops this Sunday, I believe. So we got a big Star Wars trivia match. I'm on
a day off.
Is it tomorrow?
I think so.
I am a day off. I'm telling you, I'm a day off. There's so much.
I'm gonna start texting you. Ken, it's Tongue Day, not Prime Day.
Well, and then Joseph texted me so nicely, like, "Hey, our episode's not up today. It's scheduled for Friday." And I literally were like, I've been staring at the YouTube channel, going, "Well, why didn't it load?" Oh, I just woken up. So, anyways,
it's Ethan Truman who pointed out there is still not a Crate Luke in the Black Series. That's an actual crime, says Ethan, and I agree with Ethan.
That's a crime. That's a crime. That Karn.
Yes, exactly. I mean, it's joking. There can be no justice without a Black Series Crate Luke.
Yeah. Cali Kid's talking about that. It says Carl Cali assumes Syril becoming an officer, maybe goes the other way. And says it's not like he's depicted as pure evil as bad guy. It's kind of ambiguous now. But and that's actually the point that I'm trying to make is he's not pure evil. That's the problem, and he doesn't see what his part is in all of it. And once he sees that, that's the choice he has. And I'm wondering if he hardens the heart and, stays in that lane. And maybe to Cali Kid's point, maybe he has a redemption story. Maybe we can have that dealt with in another way, but that's fascinating. So no, I agree. Love that there. Jedi Islander has this great comment here. Mon Mothma was a mentor with Padme and Leia. So dubious choice in spouses tracks very well. Yeah. Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And look, that stings as a Han guy, but I get it. The parent of it all is I'm not loving the parent character. I'm loving that we all collectively hate him and what that means for someone we love. Mothman's a character I think we're learning so much about. But man, I think she's always been viewed pretty positively, especially after Rogue One and Rebels. Man, I'm absolutely intrigued by their relationship.
Must everything be boring and sad? Just you, Perrin. Just you.
I loved what you said earlier about him potentially getting arrested while Mon Mothma's off giving her speech. Like, I just wanted to have fun.
Yeah. Can't we all just have fun? That'd be so great. I feel like we're all having similar emotional responses, it seems like, in the chat, wrestling with where's Karn going and feeling the same thing with Miro and all these things. I feel like the show has been really, really good about making the audience feel what the creators want them to feel.
Yeah.
Which makes me really interested in that scene, because those creators wanted us to build effigies to burn of Perrin. They wanted us to despise that garbage husband. And I'm so curious kind of going forward why. For them, they've created all these nuanced characters where we could be like, maybe Miro's kind of right that the rebellion should be crushed entirely. I see, for them to go that hard on Mothma's husband, I'm so curious where they're taking that story.
It was wonderfully not subtle. Like we said on our show, like, he essentially goes, "Ugh, why do you have to bring politics into my Star Wars?" Like, that just was right there. Right there.
I immediately thought of Joseph. You always talk about Luke's line of just, "I care." And just how Perrin just does not care about anything. That was one of the first thoughts I had when we met him.
Yeah,
I don't care, says Perrin.
Brian Ward says, I hate him just for his hair. Good. Ethan brings up this. Of all the things I thought we learned about Mothma, her having a deadbeat husband wasn't expected at all. I really agree with that. Because Ethan, remember those comments came out. And Genevieve O'Reilly was like, yeah, we explore Mothma, her marriage. She got married very young. I think she was a teenager. I was like, oh, cool. She's got some cool relationship. No, she doesn't.
Yeah, I mean, that detail, that's totally like I married, young military hero.
Yeah.
And then he turned out to be this guy.
It was a political marriage, or do you think they were actually in love, or like what do you think is the story there?
I don't get the sense that it is a straight up like this is for the benefit, but but it seems like they both come from a family and a society where that would be a part of it. Where it'd be like, we're really glad you fell in love with each other because that's actually great for these houses. I sense something on that level. Not the total, just like I've never been in love, just total strategy, but an element.
Yeah, not like it's an arranged Game of Thrones marriage, right? We must steal our house, solidify our house. No, I know, but I know what you mean. There's something that's very real world. I definitely don't want to go into it too deep. It's a former girlfriend situation of mine where her ex-husband was, upon marriage, was all the things you'd want, and then man, that disappeared fast. And you're talking about him being in the military and a shining star. Maybe he's a star Chandrila athlete, just all of it kind of collapsing. And then two people growing apart. Because I got to imagine, we've seen, and someone very early on, I missed it, had a question of, is the deleted scenes from Revenge of the Sith, which is the Delegation of 2000 stuff with Mothma and Padme and Bail and all the other characters, Bai Ling's character and everything. Is that canon? I think it still is. I think it all kind of connects whether the scenes are canon or not. The Delegation of 2000 is. Mothma at some point, because she got married so young, might not have cared about any of this. He's a shining star. She's a shining star. I'm going to be senator. I'm in the military. They marry, and at some point, she's like, "Hey, I'm going this direction," and he's not following her. I think that's fascinating to analyze it from that point of view because it's very real world. They've both changed, which happens in relationships, and they have to deal with that. But now it's got real world stakes. The galaxy's at risk, and she's going this way, and he's not following her.
Yeah, no, and just that, boy, that would be a fun deep cut if Panaka showed up. But Perrin and Panaka feel like they have a little bit of this connection. We're like, what? Security, safety, order. We just went through a war and we won and we're protecting ourselves. And yeah, maybe a couple things Palpatine is suggesting are a little harsh, but I'm sure he has his reasons. Come on, what's the problem? It's this real, like, not even apathy, but just like, I am unwilling to look even one level under the surface and question it because I don't want to deal with that. It would ruin my fun dinner parties.
Yeah. Fun dinner parties.
I didn't quite realize it this way. We know nothing about the character I'm going to mention, but this is how I pictured Mon Mothma's husband. There's like one shot, I think it's in, I can't remember if it's in Casino Royale or Quantum Solace, of Judi Dench M's husband just kind of being groggy when she wakes up because she has to find out what Bond's doing, and he's just sort of like, what's going on? International spy stuff. Okay, and he just kind of goes back to bed. And I don't know why I imagined that's Mothma's husband. Just like, you're doing important stuff. Okay, I'll go back to bed.
that's I love that. I think it is Quantum Solace, isn't it?
I think it is Quantum of Solace.
Joseph and I could probably start Daniel Craig Bond Center, and you could do Bond Center, but I just live in the Craig world. But that'd be great.
It's a thing of beauty.
I got a super chat here from Anakin Crespin here. Are y'all planning on talking about Path of Deceit together? I mean, since you talk about Light of the Jedi together, it'd be a poetry and rhyme. That's right. I forget we did have.
That's right.
Alex came on for that review of Light of the Jedi.
Got my High Republic shirt on.
Oh yeah.
We just might have to. And I see you, Kingsport Cal. Kingsport Cal is here. Hey, everybody. Say hi to my friend Kingsport Cal out there in Johnson City in Kingsport, Tennessee. Yeah. Are those out, Alex? Are those the ones you have in your hands right now?
I got Path of Deceit and Quest of the Hidden City. Path comes out on Tuesday.
Oh wow! And is I'm so behind on staying up with it. Is Path is the kickoff, right? The adult
Yeah.
book, right?
It is the young adult book,
Oh,
actually.
but it is
Yes,
wow, that's great.
it's
I'm
it's
really happy that
interesting.
they're doing that. The
It
book is interesting, or the choice to lead with that one.
I think the choice to lead with it. I
Hmm.
enjoyed the book. There's no embargo on it, as far as I know. So I enjoyed the book. It did feel like some of the other YA books in that it was a little more focused in scope, but
Mm.
I put it down. I was like, oh, okay. Like I can see where we're drawing lines from this to the other stories. Like I think it
Oh,
is more important than the other YA books.
ooh.
Quote unquote important to the overall story.
Mm.
Yeah, well, I mean, the first phase definitely had like you couldn't ignore the big events happen in the adult books, and then the other ones are all sort of like fallout or secondary.
Right.
They're important to the characters, important storytelling, but not the big galactic events.
Yeah. I'm intrigued. I have to admit, and I think we addressed it on maybe the news show or something, Joseph, but like the fact that I have to ramp up again for High Republic. I love everything in High Republic. I love it. I'm not in High Republic shape. I've got to go take some laps out in the gym or something like that and get back in High Republic shape.
Yeah, they let
Uh,
us get fat and satisfied for 7 months with no new High Republic.
Mhm.
Now we got to get back into the swing.
But 'cause,
Alex,
yeah, go ahead, Joseph.
do you have any catch 'em up videos for High Republic?
I do, Joseph. I think this past Tuesday, I did a phase 1 summary. So you can, it's
Ooh.
like 6 minutes long. So you can just zip
Nice.
through all the books and comics, just refresher of what happened.
Nice.
I watched that the other day because I was like, "Ooh, I'm not ready. I'm not ready." Great stuff there. Yeah, Orlando says it. I forgot how Republic's coming back. I didn't forget, but like, yeah, we still got to read Padawan. I got to finish that damn book about the 1912 election in our world. And I have this great book called Football for $1 about the USFL, which is how Donald Trump destroyed a football league as well. I'm trying to read that. Now the High Republic's back, so I'll never get to that.
I'm still working on my Christopher Lee autobiography, which is fascinating. It's so great.
Hearing you talk about it makes me want to read it.
I mean, the one of the really great things about it is just, we see Christopher Lee, particularly by the time he came to Star Wars, as just like venerable, great person of theater and film and all these experiences in life. And like his whole autobiography has this real self-deprecating, like, yeah, me, it's the tall weirdo who's never good enough. Schlunk, schlunk, schlunk. Like, it's so relatable and interesting to see how he saw himself and the feedback that he got from people that he was too different. Like, yeah, it's some great stuff. And then he just does have one of those, I don't know, it's just I think like a life from a different time, where he's just like, oh yeah, no, my parents didn't know what to do with me, so they sent me to France, and then I'm met this kind of friend of my parents, and they're like, hey, here's something interesting to see. This guy's gonna get guillotined. They're not gonna do this anymore. So why don't you check that out? Like, he's just got all these stories like that.
He was there for like the last.
Yeah,
because I know about the last. I've read about the last guillotine, the last execution by guillotine in France.
Yeah.
How would you feel as the last person to go that way? Like,
I mean, hey, if you're gonna put a stat in the back of your baseball card, that's gonna be it.
Yeah, you want to be the first or the last, because nobody who remembers the exact middle person to be guillotined, right?
We got a few more minutes left with Alex here. If you got a question for Alex and all of us, take advantage of the time now. We'll be here for a few minutes after that. Joel Ramirez, thank you very much for the super chat, and thank you very much for wearing a Yankee hat in your profile picture. I'm heading to New York next week. I'm a lifelong Yankee fan. Joel says, it's great to see you gents together. Hope all is well. I know Rogue One is the first time the Rebels come together, but do you believe something major will happen in season 2 that pulls back the curtain on the Empire? Ooh, I like that idea. It's not necessarily the Death Star. A Death Star. Ridiculous. But it's something that maybe heightens the pressure, raises the stakes of the Rebel Alliance needs to get their bleep together.
Yeah, I mean, I see two possibilities. I think that Andor is really going to be doing a good job about making you feel for a specific planet or for a specific sector. So it could be a real like let's help these people here, kind of thing. I also think like in Rebels, that revelation that Thrawn had this competing project to the Death Star. Like, I'm not saying I want a third competing project. Like,
right.
It ends up being like a reality show that Palpatine was hosting of like, Galaxy's greatest evil, and you have to like pitch to Palpatine like, I'm going to build a giant ball that shoots a laser. I'm going to make really fast TIE fighters that can't be shot down. They got shields and everything. And somebody else is like, I'm going to build a giant pool stick and you can like hit planets and they bounce into each other. Like,
this is perfect because you know how the episode ends. And that's the winner. The winner gets the do it. That's how you do it.
That's the catchphrase. Do it.
Yeah.
But something along those lines where there is another, not on that scale, because it start to get jokey, but yeah, something else the Empire is trying to do.
Yeah.
Sheath tank.
Love that.
I do think it's interesting they mentioned Gorman already, and the fact that we might actually see the Gorman massacre, or like that they might keep mentioning this planet Gorman, and maybe we won't see it, but Mon Mothma will continue to talk about it, and then maybe we see her speech from Star Wars Rebels. I would not mind seeing a repeat of that moment.
Well, you could seeing it through someone else's eyes via hologram.
Cassian.
Wonderful. Yeah. Wonderful. Yeah. Love that.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's a really interesting question of what beat do you leave Cassian on, right? Because we meet him in Rogue One, where arguably his challenge is he 100% believes in the rebellion, right? He's agreed now with the stuff that Luthen's saying about it. He's willing to give everything for this. But what he's wrestling with is he's done really things that really upset him to do it.
Yeah.
So how do you end Andor? That's a potentially depressing beat to end on, of like, and Cassian hangs his head because he just had to kill another guy he doesn't want to, right? Like, how do you set him on the trajectory that matches Rogue One and give him a moment of triumph? Yeah. I feel like he helps a specific group of people and is reminded that he's on the right path ultimately,
Confirmation of the choice. Yeah. That's great. Yeah. Whether or not we see Gorman or not, a lot of people. Did you put up a Gorman video today, Alex? I'm seeing a lot of people say that. I love.
I just did a video about that whole scene. That was my favorite scene. I mean, when they mentioned Sly Moore, for our weekly drawing of our favorite scenes, that's what I drew. Is Mon Mothma realizing Sly Moore is coming to her house. But I made like literally that face of just like, oh no, Sly Moore's coming.
I think we joked about it and talked about it when people had the like, who could pop up, and I was like, I want the people who would logically be there to pop up. I want Masamita and his wild flapping tongue when he gets angry. I want Sly Moore. I couldn't believe it. And it really is like a great prequel moment, right? For going back in the day when those movies first came out, and a lot of people were mad at politics, didn't want all the political stuff, and now we're like cheering for Sly Moore.
Yeah.
It's great.
Oh, Sly Moore trended well this week on Twitter. Joel Ramirez follows, I don't believe we'll see the actual massacre, but I truly believe we'll see Gorman. The Gorman massacre happen in live action. It's something I'm rooting for, but yes, I like that comment. I agree with you there. All right. Should we answer this one here, Joseph? Do you see this one from our buddy Ken Plume?
Oh yeah.
Okay. Ken Plume, who has this wonderful YouTube channel y'all should subscribe to and get to Force 5 episodes. Your Star Wars Halloween costume choices, go. All right, Alex, I think I know the answer.
Oh, you do?
It's Fixer, right?
I mean, that's not bad. If it were like a dream costume, I'd probably put together a Cobb Vanth, but I don't know how I would completely sell that I'm not Boba Fett. I feel like he doesn't have the mainline recognition, and people would call me Boba Fett all night, and I'd be upset about it.
Or they just be like, "What are you supposed to be, like some sort of cowboy? Are you Red Dead Redemption? Are you Red Dead Redemption?"
Yeah, Cowboy Boba Fett. Yeah, that's great. This is a dream I've had for a long time for my ultimate Star Wars Halloween costume. I'm dressed as a rebel pilot, but not just any rebel pilot. I have one of those old 70s, 80s plastic masks that is a perfect capturing of Alex Damon's face as an action figure. So I want to be the Alex Damon rebel pilot action figure for Halloween.
I love that. I love that there. That's great. I've never dressed up as one for Halloween. I've been Pee Wee Herman twice, but not a Star Wars character. And I don't do costumes. Before we went live tonight, Grace was like, "We've got a Halloween party in 2 weeks." I said, "I am not dressing up. I just bah humbug on that." So, to your question though, Ken, if I had a dream one, like Alex said, like if some members of the 501st were to help me put together a costume, I you guys know I oddly love my Imperial officers. So I don't know if I'd want to be Moff Jerjerrod, but get a crisp Imperial officer uniform, just run around the house, bark orders at Chihuahuas. I could do that.
That would be great.
Yeah. Good stuff. Alex, how you feeling? You got to roll here soon?
Yeah, I should roll out, but thanks for having me on.
Yeah, thank you so much for joining us. And your videos, as always, they're so great. You do a great service and have great insights.
Oh, well, thank you. Ken was texting me that Wednesday and was saying, "Would you do your Easter egg video already?" I was like, "I'll do it when you do your podcast." Like I sit there and I refresh my feed until I can listen to ForceCenter. So
yay.
There you go. We appreciate it. Say hi to Molly, Jill, and the entire crew over there at From a Certain Point of View.
Will do. See you, everyone.
Right. Bye. See you. Alex Damon is out of here. We are here for a little bit longer. It's not that I don't want to go until 9 o'clock our time, Joseph. It's just, man, the whiskey starts to hit.
No, I understand. I was just thinking that myself.
Yeah. We got some questions coming in. Anything? I love that. Yes, Kingsford Cow would be Lando, of course. Nathan would be Two Tubes. Can't wait to see some Two Tubes action there.
Yeah. No, I mean there's a ton of I if I had somebody to make like nice and I do have a couple friends I could ask, but I would love to have like a really great, very specific like Obi-Wan in Revenge of the Sith Jedi costume. Hey, Dooku, since I've been real Dooku obsessed lately, that would be a great costume to just. And I don't know that everybody would recognize Dooku, right? Like, if I went to just a generic party, they'd be like, "You're European royalty, okay? Weird choice."
Yeah. You from Montenegro? What are you? Are you some royalty from some small country?
From Montenegro.
You a Bond villain? Yeah.
I am with the third nipple.
I've never been great or super interested in costumes. Then I started in the early 2010s, started hanging out with like Matt Key and Brittany Wallach and Matt Mercer and that crew. Nothing but professional cosplayers. So I'd show up at these costume parties and I'm like, I can't compete with this bleep. Like, I can't do this. I'm jeans and t-shirt guy. Like, come on.
Yeah. I went to like an adult Halloween party, or a Halloween party where there were adults, and there were a bunch of people who were just like, we're gonna dress as real sexy goths of all kind. And then my friend was just like, I'm a plumber. Like when you're a kid and you just dress up as professions. It's like, I got a plunger. I got some cigarettes rolled up in my sleeve. What do you want?
In 2012, one of Brittany Wallach Key's party, she had the Avengers theme party. I went as Bob Tempest, the Avengers HR guy, and at a clipboard, and I printed out all these forms to onboard new employees. That's as far as I went. May Morris checks in. Hey, May, we're happy to have you here. If y'all had a lifelong droid companion, what model would you choose and why? Love you all's respective Andor coverage, by the way. Well, May, we love you listening to that there, May Morris. So a droid friend. Man, I'd love a droid friend there. Joseph, what do you go with?
Yeah. I really like it's incredibly hard to pick. B2 Emo is amazing right now. But I really like Dio. I really like that Dio, like in a real world way, is can like small roll alongside you, really has a little bit of a, like a little Chihuahua or Terrier, like
a little bit.
And obviously Dio's been through a lot, but his heart still shines through. So that kind of model of a friendly little, like the kind of droid that would roll up and be real happy to see you. BB-8 too, R2 as well, but Dio.
Yeah, I love
Dio
that.
style.
Aaron Thompson's is a BD droid, such a puppy. Yeah, BD1, great answer. But I gotta tell you, and someone in here said, Matthew Stokes said, I'm all about the Gonk droid cosplay. That's a good idea. I think I might need a Gonk droid. I think I'd want a Dio, maybe BB-8. Chopper, no, I think Chopper and I would get in fights. But a Gonk droid, I am always dealing with power issues. My computer, like a lot of folks, drains fast. My phone, and I'm not getting to the iPhone 14. I'm holding off to the 15. Drains fast, doesn't even plug in half the time. I think I need a Gonk droid to power my life.
Yep. And the Gonk would be happy to see you, probably. You could hint in the inflection of the Gonk. I
think, Gonks, other than one being tortured, Gonks generally seem happy.
And I feel like if I dress as a Gonk droid at a party, I wouldn't get to have drinks. People would put their drinks on me, right? Not even realize it was a costume. It's like, nice Gonk droid.
I love this. Aaron Moat says, Ken, in 1986, I went trick-or-treating as a hot dog vendor from Baltimore's Old Memorial Stadium from Boob's Barbecue. I love that there. Fewer minutes left in the show here before I just absolutely pass out, but we've had a ton of fun here tonight. So anything jump out to you there, Joseph?
We got a couple of very kind super chats here.
Oh, yeah. We'll get to another one from Joel, but I think this one from Ronan. We always appreciate this, Ronan. Go for it. You're slurring less than I.
Ronan says, I saw someone today say that Sly Moore is Ray's grandma. So, I just wanted to pass that curse thought along to everyone else so I don't have to suffer alone. Have a nice weekend. Well, I'll try to have a nice weekend. That was such a fun window when Rise of Skywalker had just come out, and the clarification that it was all clone based hadn't actually come to pass, and we all had some fun speculation of like, what kind of marriage was that? Was it a marriage? Like, what happened there? What, like,
that's amazing. No, that's amazing because it's along the lines of for me when the Chad Palpatine era, which is what we'll say, where we weren't sure how that happened, and it was like when, even though we know he had 3 children, but for me in Game of Thrones, when Tywin Lannister ended up with Shay, Tyrion's partner, and it was just like, Tywin gets down? What are you talking about? I had this like weird, no, I can't accept this. And so for that month period, or whatever it was, where it was like, Sheev had a relationship? I just can't accept that. I just can't accept that. So I'm glad it ended up the way it was. But hey,
I like the details that, Sly Moore is, fully aware of what Sheev's whole deal is. And I feel like I don't feel like Sheev gets down. I feel like that's not, I don't think that's his thing, right?
I don't think it does.
No, I think he's too selfish. I think
he
won't even give of himself that much. But I bet Sly Moore is like, if you ever want to, make an army of, and I think she's like, thank you, but no thank you.
But no thank you.
No thank you. We won't do it.
Yeah. Oh, Jack Cole says, I want my own K2 complete with sarcastic backtalk, and going back to the droid question there. Hilarious. We know we're deep into the drinks when we're worried about Sly Moore and Palpatine. That's a great one. Thank you, Roden. Joel says, last one. Sorry. No, Joel, we appreciate the support. Really, we do in this day.
It's really okay.
Last one. Sorry. I appreciate your guys' commentary, but if any, who's the most likely rebel group to connect and help with Mon's side in season 2? The Bad Batch boys, Ahsoka, Obi-Wan, or Rex? So I'm going to assume, Joel, your question is from Rebels or just Rebels overall. I think maybe I have 2 thoughts on that. And putting Bad Batch into that kind of animated universe there. So any thoughts there, Joseph?
Yeah, I am really, really curious. I think that based on what we've got so far, I think we could get a lot of sort of name checking as things come together. But I feel like since Tony Gilroy really wants to be playing in his own sandbox. Not that he dislikes it, but just like the coordination that would take with like Ahsoka shooting right now to have, say, Ahsoka pop up, right?
Yeah.
I think if anything, really, I think Bail appearances and Bail being clear that this is who he has on a mission right now.
Yeah.
Is the connection that I expect to actually see on screen and hope to see is Bail.
Yeah.
And talking about who he's got going.
Yeah.
I would love it. I would love Ahsoka. That would be great because I like the idea that we know that she has worked with Bail, that she is fulcrum in this time. So that would be amazing to see.
Yeah, I could be with that. There's something about Rex I like. I know, but I know he and Gregor and Wolf are out there doing different things. The Bad Batch is fascinating. We're going to see where they go, obviously, on that show. And I don't necessarily think it'd be the Batch itself, but someone from that hunter, someone from that world would be interesting to me. And if it's an animated or Rebels world, a younger Harrison Dula, fresh off just meeting that cowboy Jedi Kanan Jarrus, something like that, with some information about Count Vidian, we can go into New Dawn lore if we want there. That's there. But overall, in terms of just the Rebels, you have what's this guy? What's his name? Ian McElhenney, Barristan Selmy from Game of Thrones says Jan Dodonna, and he got one line. So you've told us, get him into the series, bring in the Masasi cell. That's what I'd love.
Yeah, that would be great.
Yeah, we know some stuff's coming. And Ethan kind of backing that up. Dodonna has to show up, but we know Melshi, I think, is on the call sheet in the future.
That's great. Good old Melshi. Poor Melshi.
Yeah, we're almost done here. I got my pal Kingsport Cal says I got to go to the store and get some brews. Ken, you know my guy. You're my guy. I don't care for Star Wars anymore. Glad you still do. You'll appreciate it. Cal and I go way back from the Schmoes days, GPA days. Cal, I love you and always appreciate your support. Keep the Tri-Cities area of Tennessee safe and sound. Hope to get out there again someday. It's a beautiful part of the country, and I love it out there.
Yeah,
there you go. There you go.
Absolutely beautiful.
Yeah, Daddy Radis calls Joel.
Slap the flapper down. Radis at the Mothma dinner party could be hilarious, says Matthew Stokes. Yes.
Yeah. Love it. Oh yeah, you're wrong. Agent Callus showing up would be fitting. Yeah. Again, we mentioned Callus earlier, but I love that idea. You know what? Sorry, jumping in here, Joseph, with this one here. Nathan Stowe, what do you think of Cassian's sister being subverted by the Empire? What do you think overall about Cassian's sister?
That's true.
And what that might end up being.
Yeah, I mean, I think that I wonder, maybe even that is the arc. Maybe that is part of his final adventure at the end of the second season, if it's not resolved in the first season. I definitely think that whatever has happened to her, she's gone through some hard times, right?
Yeah.
And is that the thing that makes him say, I can't walk away? I've never been able to walk away. You know, I think whatever age he is, right? The line in Rogue One, I've been in this fight since I was 6 years old. Whatever happened on Kenari, he says he was born on Kenari. Then something clearly happened. There are no adults. Whatever that inciting incident is, I think that's what happened when he was 6.
Yeah.
And for him to say that's kind of the moment that everything shattered for me, for my sister, and it is ultimately this thing that became the Empire.
Yeah. I love that. There. Yeah. I just don't think it will be forgotten in terms of a thread, but I think, he's going to go somewhere. Going back to the other question of Rebels showing up there, Cian says, Pow, a Draba tactic, Lapti, ek would be also be cool. Yes. To have Pow show up and be like, I'd love that.
Oh, you know what?
One of my favorite Rogue One characters.
Here's my other thought on a proud fighter who needs to show up. We know this person from Saw's band of partisans, but we need Beezer Fortuna, Bib's cousin with the gaping open mouth and desiccated Leku, the dry, upsetting Leku.
Look, but here's the thing: the fact that we know we got Saw, we know we got two tubes, whether it's I think it's most likely Benthic, right? Then Idra, and then Moroff's in the background, no doubt about it. Do the zoom in, do the finger pin. It's Moroff, Beezer, we're talking 98% chance that Beezer Fortuna shows up.
This is the best weather report I've heard in a long time. We got a 98% chance of Beezer.
Love that. Desiccated Leku there. All right. Hey, Marcellus checking in here. Do you suspect, we talked that someone brought this up earlier, but do you suspect that Luthen could actually be a former Jedi, has become a bitter rebel and cut his connection to the Force completely? I suspect, I'll say, I actually suspect it to a little degree. Someone suggested earlier, Padawan didn't pass his trials, other kind of things. This is a series that the public, Joseph, seems to have said, finally, a series without the Force and lightsabers and Jedi. And that very well could be the case to the end. And I'd be satisfied if that's the case. But already, Luthen has kind of a different angle. Just mentioning the Kyber crystal just makes you think of that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I think at this point, my personal hope is it is a show about the absence of those things.
Right. Yes.
Like we've already had a little hint of that with Vel talking about like these, mystics in the hills, right? That might still be wandering around, that they might have a different approach on the Force. Yeah, I think Luthen's knowledgeable, and I love the idea that maybe he has had like direct relationships with the Jedi, maybe a failed Padawan, maybe somebody who tried it, walked away when he was young. But I'm not sure if I think that he himself is a Force user, but I think he is very aware of what the Jedi are and what their absence, probably might have some harsh opinions about their failure to prevent this.
Right. Yeah.
But is extremely aware of what their absence means for the galaxy and the absence of their power.
Yeah. I like that too. Yeah. I think I'm on board. I'm on board for Jedi stories. I'm on board for the Force. Rogue One was a great example of no Jedis but the Force. But I think it's important, definitely for season 1, to feel the absence. It's kind of an absence of hope in many ways. And I think that's a lot of what this might be. Now, season 2, as the show moves on and it moves closer, maybe. But again, I like your idea. I like what you're saying there. The missing it could be important.
Yeah, I mean, I'd be okay with it if it made sense of the story and Luthen found out about a Jedi and like, we're getting that guy. I do want to point out that Mason Harris had a great thought. What if Cassian's sister joined up with Enfys Nest? That would be amazing. Enfys would fit in this world really well. Obviously, just like all of the ideas that Enfys communicates so well in Solo. That'd be amazing.
Yeah, and look, all the talk of Gilroy and his team and how much it's connected to Star Wars, all that kind of stuff, all that Easter egg talk that's out there. Again, if you're trying to put together a character and if there's any question of like, hey, is there anyone who is part of the rebellion but not, that they emerge from the oppression of the Empire and there's a cultural reason for them to fight back. A lot of people might point to her and Gilroy and team. Again, there's the whole team behind him. It would make a lot of sense. I had a lot of hope, Joseph, for Enfys Nest when the show was announced 4 years ago. And that hope kind of dissipated. It just didn't seem from a lot of the interviews that this might not be as connected as I would thought. And I'm happy so far, 4 episodes in. But we're in Coruscant with Mon Mothma and Sly Moore's coming to dinner.
Yeah.
We now the possibility of Enfys Nest just tripled.
When Sly Moore comes to dinner, all bets are off, right? Anyone can show up now. Borg Gullet at Dexter's Diner. That's going to happen.
There you go. And Verlando says, I love the Luthen impressions. Don't be careful. Be careful what you wish for, because I think we can do them all day. Not that they're
Verlando.
Yeah, not that I'm nailing Luthen impressions, but just love them. Just love them there. 2 choices. All right. I think we've done it.
I think we have.
We've hung out here on a Friday night. This is the September Q&A, not the October, as I mentioned in the description there. This is actually the October one. So thank you so much for joining us. Thank you so much for making our community so vibrant. We appreciate your support on patreon.com/ForceCenters, where you get into our Discord. We keep the conversation going. And a lot of cool stuff. So there you go. A lot of cool things coming up. I won't say, Joseph, it's your story to share as you wish, but I had fun shooting with you the other day. So where can they find all the stuff you're working on?
Yeah, as always, you can find me on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, at Joseph Scrimshaw. And yeah, I've been saying on the ForceCenter podcast that I'm trying to get my YouTube channel going again, trying to get it monetized. A ton of you have subscribed. If you're interested, please do subscribe. If you're interested, watch some of my comedy videos. And I have some my podcast Obsessed, all sorts of older episodes are up there and some newer ones coming. And I'm making some new stuff, including, yes, Ken and a great friend Mark Ellis were in my home yesterday helping me with some fun projects that are coming in October. So if you want to check that out, you can go to YouTube and just search for Joseph Scrimshaw and I'll pop right up.
Do it. Pop right up. He'll pop right up and you can subscribe. Thanks for listening. You can follow me at Ken Napzok. Go to my website, kennapzok.com. Mark Ellis and I are about to begin the fall crawl. I'm calling it. He has not approved that title. We'll be doing comedy in New York, October 6th and 7th, the New York Comedy Club. Then La Jolla, California on the 14th, 15th, and 16th. That's like 5 shows we're doing out there. And then up in Seattle at the Crocodile, a great club, on October 28th. So you can find us there, all leading to Mark Ellis's comedy special, just being taped in LA on December 3rd. So if you're a fan of him, I'll be part of that as well. Come on out. You can find information on my website, kennapzok.com. We really appreciate all of you. Jennifer Landa does as well. She sends her regards. Don't forget to follow Jennifer on TikTok, where she's got some great Andor content, or her Instagram reels as well. And one of these days, when her kids get to college, she'll be able to pop on a live stream here. We'll make that happen. Special thanks to Alex Damon. Follow Alex, Star Wars Explained. A lot of you know him there. Thanks to Alex for appearing on Casterly Talk as well tonight.
And thank you all for all your great questions and your great insights and thoughts on Star Wars as well. It's so love seeing everybody's thoughts when we do these Q&As.
We do. We appreciate your super chats as well. It helps to keep the show going and makes it grow. We'll see you next time. Bye.